Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown!
This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah. Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Ladies and gentlemen,
your 2021 NLCS champions, the Atlanta Braves, baby! We go into the ship, y'all! Underdogs in it, like big Vegas moneyline underdogs, but we were big Vegas moneyline underdogs in the NLCS too. Got that done. Why not have a year to have a year, boys? The Atlanta Braves on to the 2021 World Series, ladies and gentlemen. It is October baseball, and the Bravos figured it out. Welcome in, y'all. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello to you, and how do you do upstate South Carolina? And, of course, around the world on the Odyssey app. Put it on your digital devices, and you can listen to the show in real time no matter where you is, as long as you got an internet connection and a speaker. You can listen to the show. I am Rob Brown. Great to be with you. Appreciate you joining us. Appreciate you hanging out. Sitting in today, the great one, the pinnacle of professionalism, Lonzo, is out on vacation. Today, ladies and gentlemen, you are about to be regaled with the seductive tones of Diddy on the ones and twos. What up, fella?
what's going on, man? It's nice to be here on a weekday with you.
He's like the only dude in the building that drops the bass in his voice. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had that.
I appreciate it.
How you doing, partner?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here talking sports on a Monday afternoon here. This is fun. Love
yes,
it.
Indeed. Good to have you, man. Appreciate you coming in to
Yes, sir.
pick up lazy Lonzo's slack vacation.
Said something about like laying flooring, and I offered him to come do that at my house as well because I need some new
Did he
flooring.
say no?
And he didn't offer to do it.
Oh,
I don't understand.
He's selfish.
I know.
He's selfish.
You can do my floor too, Lonzo.
Yeah.
Come
Takes
on.
a vacation and makes us work more, and then won't even do Diddy's floor. Unbelievable. You know, Lonzo's one of those dudes that takes vacation to work more. You know?
Yeah.
He's got to rebuild. So, and for those of you who have not followed the bridges of Lonzo County the last couple of months, Lonzo lives on a compound out in parts unknown.
Okay.
And there is to get to Zoe's house, you've got to take like a journey through the woods down this dirt road. And he's got a bridge that crosses over kind of a creek at the beginning of his property. Well, that bridge has eroded and started to wash out just a little at a time, but enough that like you can't risk bringing the car over it. So he's literally having to park one car on one side of the bridge, walk up to the house, walk back down to the car, and it's like a quarter-mile walk that he's got to make a couple times a day. And long story short, he's taking care of that. He's also decided, I think he's either like building a room on his house or like redoing a room, doing something with the man cave. Lonzo's the only dude that's like, I got 5 days of vacation. Think I'll rebuild everything that exists.
I think it's him and Diesel are the only two that would do that stuff.
Yeah, well,
Diesel took time off and redid his whole house too.
Well, we've ruined Diesel's life because we've gotten Diesel into golf.
See,
I've ruined his life
I've noticed.
now. Yeah. So he's golfing on his time off, which is great. Diesel and I got a round of golf in on Saturday morning, and I gotta tell you, he's picked up about 10 strokes in like 2 months. He's doing good. He's doing good.
The man's a hard worker.
He outdrove me twice, and he made sure to chirp a little bit about it. Like, he outdrove me twice, and he was like, hey, guess who's closer?
Well, he's got guns like DeChambro, come on.
Old Schmieden out there. I'd like to point out that I got him the rest of the time.
So
he
yes,
got me
of
for
course,
2,
of course.
but I've also had like a 14-year head start. So,
yeah.
All right, a lot of stuff to get into, a lot of stuff to talk about on the broadcast today. Let's get going by starting the show. Welcome to production, Diddy. The way we start the show, that would be the lunch breakdown, which is not loaded in, is it? I forgot to tell you.
I can get it right now.
Yeah,
though.
pull the sounder. We got to have the sounder. I mean, it's not an official segment unless you do the sounder, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's do lunch.
There it is.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys hear?
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Texter says, what did you shoot and what does Diesel shoot? I must know immediately. Wow. Wow, text line's opening up demanding today. I shot a 95 on Saturday.
Mhm.
Diesel shot a 103. But again, Diesel's been playing
That's
golf
really
for
good,
like,
though.
been playing golf for like
Oh, my
6
goodness.
months. So
I played my whole life. I was in my 20s before I broke 100. He's
Yeah.
already almost there.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think he did a 103. Now, I'm not going to give away any dirty little secrets. But Diesel has an OB rule where if he can find his golf ball, he doesn't add a stroke penalty. And I don't.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, if I got to get a ball retriever out to get my ball, it's one strike, right?
Yeah.
If I got to move the only I will give you this. If I'm playing a fun, like Saturday, we're just playing a casual round. Saturday, we're playing a casual round. I will play, like, if you got a terrible lie, right? Like, if your ball is stuck in a tree root, all right, pull it out and move it. You know what I mean? Like, don't drop it dead center fairway. Let's not get crazy. No. Diesel plays the rule of, if I can see the golf ball, I can drop it without a penalty. Mine is if the ball is like the ball's clearly OB, I'll add my one. So, but again, I want to say he did a 103.
Mhm.
We both use the fair share of mulligans. Like,
of course.
If I didn't give myself the occasional, I hit it 2 neighborhoods over, let me hit that one again thing, it's probably a hundo for me.
Okay.
I'm probably sitting triple figures. But no, I'm proud of Diesel, man. He's figuring out, he's putting it all together.
Absolutely.
Putting it all together. He looks at me Saturday, like halfway through the round. He's like, I should take a lesson. I was like, dude, you're doing the Sands lessons. That's pretty solid.
Without lessons, you're doing pretty
Diesel's
good.
a big YouTube guy, right?
He is. Yes.
He's got his own YouTube channel where he does the fishing. Diesel does fishing, but he's one of those cats that learns everything via YouTube. And so he's learned to play golf on YouTube, right?
Mhm.
So first hole, we played Pebble Creek. No, sorry, second hole. Second hole is kind of a dog leg right,
Mhm.
and right before the green, it goes like straight up for like 8 feet, and there's a bunker right there in the front.
Yeah.
So you either have, like, if you don't hit, and if you hit over the bunker but you overshoot the green, it's wasteland back there. So basically, all you can do is lay up, but you got to go straight up and over.
Yeah.
One of the few shots I can hit consistently is I've got a decent flop shot. I go in and got myself like a 64-degree attack wedge, so I can hit the ball straight up in the air. It's one of the few shots I can hit consistently. I hit it. Diesel goes, "How'd you do that?" And I went, "YouTube." He's like, "You're a jerk." All right, lunch breakdown. 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. This will be the talk around the lunch table. We start with item number 1, anxiety on Saturday night as the Bravos were up in the series 3-2. They were up 3-1 last year, and what happened? They choked it away. So Braves fans, you can tell me what you want, but if you lie to me, if you tell me Saturday you weren't up in your butterflies a little bit, I'm gonna call you a damn liar. All right? If you weren't sitting at the table Saturday night with feet tapping and fingers nervously I'm gonna call you a liar, because you were. All right? Because you absolutely were. But they figured out 4-2 winners are the Atlanta Braves in Saturday night's Game 6. That puts the Dodgers away 4-2. Name your next dog, Rosario, because Eddie has been a mash monster. 2 for 4, 3 ribbies, including a dinger that gave the Braves the lead, and they never looked back. The first World Series appearance for Atlanta since 1999. Atlanta moves on to the Fall Classic. Eddie Rosario, 2 of 4, 3 ribbies, and a walk. Freddie Freeman has been really, and I guess these, how did I call you? Not only did I call you the wrong name, I called you the name of the guy who's not even on the show. Diddy, interesting, talking about, Texter says, also not drinking 8 beers and 4 Fireball shots might help. It might, but don't try to tell me how to live my life, Texter.
Where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Anyway, Freddie, if I'm looking for cases for optimism for the Braves. All right, they are big money underdogs.
Yeah.
The Astros, most of the guys on the team, despite having been broken up a couple of years, most of the guys have been in the situation.
Yeah.
They've got the experience the Braves don't have.
I'm looking for silver linings. I'm looking for reasons to be optimistic. And the fact that Freddie Freeman has been, with a couple of exceptions, mostly an average batter this series, if his bat comes alive in that 2-3 spot, wherever he ends up in the lineup for game 1 tomorrow night, if Freeman can wake up and Rosario stays competitive the way he's been slamming the baseball, this Braves team, the Astros are outpacing everybody runs scored in the entire postseason. I think they're averaging like 6.5 a game. The Braves are at like 3.5. So the Astros are a more potent offense. But the way that, with the exception of Game 5 for Ian Anderson, the front end of the rotation for the Braves is gone, and the fact that they are consistently hitting the baseball, I mean, I want to say Houston's like minus 155. I think the Braves are plus 125 going into this. It's not the most ridiculous thing to think the Braves can steal this thing away, even though they're the road team.
No, not at all. And we saw the weaknesses for the Astros, both in those games 2 and 3 against the Red Sox, where they just got completely crushed. And both the pitchers that pitched really well at the end of that ALCS were the ones who did get crushed. So they're rookies. They're young. They're not experienced. Their pitching staff is not the one that won the World Series in 2017 or even was almost there last year. They've lost a lot of guys, including a Charlie Morton, including
who plays where now?
Who plays for the Atlanta Braves.
That's right. He'll be on the hill tomorrow night.
Garrett Cole's not there. None of those guys are there anymore. Their pitching staff isn't what it was. Yeah, they looked great at the end against the Red Sox, but let's not, mince our words here. The Red Sox bats disappeared.
Yeah.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
They made that pitching staff look better in game 4 and 5 and 6. So I don't think that necessarily tells us that they're going to be better than the Braves. The Braves have faced better pitching all around this entire playoffs and are still getting the job done. That lineup is stout. What Alex Anthopoulos has done this year, again, is legendary.
GM of the year.
Jock Peterson, Rosario, bringing in some help in the bullpen, everything after we had a sub-500 team with a MVP candidate going down with a knee injury, and they got better.
Yeah,
because of Alex Anthopoulos.
Between Soler, Rosario, Duvall, and who's the other outfielder I'm missing? Peter and Jocktober.
Jocktober.
Those 4 guys batting collectively like 325 in the postseason with like 7 home runs.
Yep.
That's nuts. Alex Anthopoulos is the GM of the year. If they give it to anybody else, it's rigged.
He's the GM of the decade with what he's done the last 5 years.
He might be. All right, give me your prediction. Who you got?
Man, I want to be homerish about it. So, like, growing up, even as a Red Sox fan, I was a huge Braves fan because I didn't have Nesson. So, I could only watch the Red Sox every couple weeks. They were on local TV, but the Braves were on TBS every single day. So, I was a huge, huge Braves fan. So, I want the Braves. To win. But it's really hard because of the experience, because you don't have the guy that would be the marquee player coming into this matchup in Ronald Acuna Jr. You don't have the pitchers that you could have used right now with Soroka and other pitchers that have gotten hurt. So I think that it's really tough to pick them. I'm going to have to say Astros in 7, but I am wrong all the time. So this is for you.
I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers freaking crossed.
And I might come with you to that parade.
I'm telling you straight up right now. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this one on the record. Braves figure out how to win the series, and I'm also going Astros in 7. All right, listen. I have a promo running where I'm like, never bet on Atlanta sports in the postseason.
Yeah.
Because every year they find a new and creative way that to break your heart. They haven't done it yet. Yeah. What would be more Atlanta than the Braves making it and then losing in Game 7?
Yeah.
Right? What would be more Atlanta than that? That being said. I'm rocking the Braves hat right now. Like, if the Braves win this series, I'm going to go ahead and tell you on my last vacation day will be put in to be in Atlanta for that parade. Because I will be, I believe, as the kids say, Diddy, lit.
Yes, that is what the kids say.
All right, we're going to break that series down more later on in the show, but I want to get through the rest of this. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. It's technically item 2 and 3. The 3 has another part to it. Ladies and gentlemen, the state of South Carolina. It was not a great weekend for football. If you are a fan of any of the teams in South Carolina, the Gamecocks get blowed up. This one, probably the least surprising of the results.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Texas A&M 6-2, but they knocked off Bama. It's a good team, all right? I still don't consider them like everybody, if they wouldn't have lost every game, they're a playoff team. I don't know. They're good, but I just don't trust them all that much. But Zach Calzada and his Aggies get absolutely roll. And look, it's 44-14. Both touchdowns came in garbage time for the Gamecocks in the game. All right, it was 44-0. You can say what you want. The game was 44-0. And I got to tell you, Diddy, 3 weeks ago, I was saying, look, we expected South Carolina to be gunning for 6-6 season. And that's still on the table, by the way. Florida doesn't look good. Mizzou doesn't look good. Don't try to tell me Clemson's unbeatable. Yep. They're double-digit favorite against FSU. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I don't ordinarily lock bets in early in the week. I hammered FSU to cover. Oh, yeah. It's like 14.5-point dogs. Hammered FSU to cover at Clemson this weekend. But that 6-6 is going to take some damn work. Here's the problem I have. No matter what metric you look at, South Carolina's not getting better week by week. They're not getting better week by week. And I've said the whole time, to me, the record of this team is irrelevant at the end of the year. I don't care if it's 6-6. I don't care if it's 8-4. I don't care if it's 4-8. The record is irrelevant. What I need to consider this a successful program. 6-6 is what I'd like, but what I need to consider this a upward trajectory this year is I just need to be able to point every week and go, that got better, that got better, that got better. Point me something out that got better this week.
Nothing.
Time management was bad. Yep. Offense was atrocious. Defense was letting A&M do everything they wanted to. The only time the offense looked good was late in the game when Jason Brown came in, but that was against Texas A&M second-string defense, and he still threw. Granted, it wasn't his pick. Here's the other part. I think Nolan and Brown kind of got hung out to dry by some receivers that were just way off the mark, all right? Jason Brown, 8-14, 84 yards, a touch and 2 picks. Zeb Nolan, 7-12 for 30 yards. No touches, no picks. But I would say of the 11 drops, there were 11 incompletions. There were 4 or 5 drops that should have been big grabs. This team's not getting better.
No.
And listen, I believe you got to give a coach 2 years minimum, 3, preferably 4 if you can, to get a full recruiting class in the system, put the whole thing together. This is bad. This is bad. Even Tim Frisbee on Twitter was like, anybody who says anything positive about South Carolina is a blatant homer at this point.
Well, I'm pretty much a blatant homer. But there's nothing positive to say, obviously. But it's really hard to also go straight negative. And all of these situations that it's already a lost cause, everything's a failure. It's like, you remember how bad last year was. And the year before as well. This is a result of the end of Muschamp. But Beamer didn't have much chance to get any recruits yet. So I don't want everybody to jump ship already. And that's what's annoying me probably the most. I don't have any sunshine and rainbows to shoot your way right now. That sucked. Third quarter, 6 total yards late in the third quarter for that offense. That's bad. That's worse than bad. It doesn't matter how much you were supposed to lose to this team who was rumored to be a playoff potential team. You still got to put up some yards and at least move the football, and they didn't. And that's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. But jumping ship already, like some people need to pump the brakes and take some deep breaths here. We're not going to turn into Clemson next year, or not this year's Clemson, but the good one.
It's a weird conversation to try to put nuance in, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm watching the Braves game Saturday night, and I've got the Carolina A&M game up on the big screen next to it, and I look at one point midway through the second period, and it's like total offense. Texas A&M 212 yards, South Carolina total offense negative 21 yards.
Yep.
Negative 21 yards. No, high school games should not have negative 21 yards. That's insanity. Texas says, can we skip this segment? Saturday hurt enough. Look, like I said, here's the thing. I really like Shane Beamer. I'm not off the Beamer wagon yet. Okay, I'm not. Here's what I am going to say. Even if the game goes squirrely, and look, this is a 6-2 Aggies team with a win over Bama. I did not expect you to be competitive in this game. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had the same expectations as I did against Georgia. I'm not expecting you to be competitive on the scoreboard. I'm expecting you to go out there and do the things right. Block, tackle, catch, throw. Do the things right. Even if they're blowing it up, execute. And they didn't do it. That's my problem. Because it's on one hand, I want to go, I agree with Diddy. This is a result of the Muschamp implosion and the end of his time at South Carolina. These are the results. You are in the same spot. I know I compare it to this a lot. You were in the same spot that FSU was when Jimbo Fisher left Florida State. Yeah, he won a title there, but his way, he stopped recruiting for 2 years. The guys that were in there were not bought into the program. They were just guys playing out their scholarship, et cetera. That's where you are. And it takes 2, 3, 4 years to climb out of those doldrums, but I expect to see, if not improvement, at least getting the details right, and I didn't see that.
I'm going to have to take it one step further, though. I think that's where we were with Muschamp, because Spurrier kind of did that at the end. He kind of stopped recruiting. He kind of stopped trying down the stretch. That last year was really, really bad. The 2-10 team, losing to Citadel in the second to last week. Just a bad year. Muschamp inherited that kind of an empty cupboard. But then Muschamp, instead of being Willie Taggart and being gone after a short period of time, was here for way too long because of his buyout contract, and he took him to such a depth at the end of things because he was mad. He was sick of it. He was frustrated with all of us fans. And I just think he tanked it in that last season, especially. Last year was just atrocious to watch. And I don't know if there was any coming out of that into 2021 with any semblance of good football. I just don't think there was.
All right, we're going to hold off on number 2 and number 3 because obviously they are Clemson's loss to Pittsburgh and the Panthers lost to the Giants. 3 real bad losses for the 3 big teams in the area. We're going to keep breaking those down when we come back. My name is Rob Brown. Diddy in on the 1s and 2s for the great one, Lonzo. We're back right after this on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
Archstream.
RubberMatt.com presents the Sports Flash on ESPN Upstate.
Appreciate you hanging out with
Right
us
on the
today.
play fake. Matt looking. He's going to scorch it deep. Downfield, and it is caught. Touchdown, Atlanta. And you know who is in the end zone? Russell Gage.
The call on the Falcons Radio Network in Sunday's
Learning
third
things, y'all.
win
That's
at
right.
Miami. 2 touchdown passes in the victory for Matt Ryan. 25 of 40 passing for 336 yards. Cordarrelle Patterson rushed for a score. Younghoe Koo with a 36-yard field goal to win it as time expired. The Giants pounded the Panthers 25-3. Carolina with just 173 offensive yards in the loss. That, along with the 3 points, team lows since head coach Matt Rule took over last year. Game one of the World Series Tuesday night in Houston. The Braves start right-hander Charlie Morton. The Astros start lefty Franco Valdez.
Big prizes.
ESPN Upstate is your home for Burns Rebels High School football play-by-play every Friday night at 7 o'clock. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
Hit a raffle or a draw. So on Saturday, I'm at the Triumph game.
High school football fans, I'm Cole Bryson. Get the scores, discussion, interviews, and more on the Saturday Morning Scramble, powered by Founders Federal Credit Union. Every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m.
Well, then Derek Water is a player for the Triumph. Raffled all his cleats from Game Saturday. They're dope cleats. So yeah, so I'm gonna do those up tomorrow. Next week I'm actually gonna have to make something, but the cleats are gonna hang on the wall and the ring's gonna be on there too.
Yes,
That's awesome. Dope. So Lonzo asked me, and then over the weekend I won 2 big prizes from the Triumph.
When I was a little kid, I did a raffle at a church, or Catholic church in New Hampshire. And won a putting green thing, like a long stretch with a hole at the end. It's like the only thing I've ever won. I know the dollars on a Allegiant flight once to South Florida.
Yeah.
I had $1 in my wallet. That was it. Quoro. Big Quoro lifetime. And I was the dollar that got drawn. It was like $84 on my way on vacation for spring break. It's like, yes.
Insights you can put to work right away. Attend South Tech in person and you will be entered to win one of 3 $1,000 gift cards. For more information about contest rules and to register, visit southtechonline.com and enter promo code RADIO, RADIO. That's southteconline.com, promo code RADIO. See you there.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now open. Voted one of America's top haunts and #1 in South Carolina. Experience the biggest and scariest haunted attraction, full of dark woods, incredible set designs, special effects, and top-notch actors. Grab your friends and get ready to scream. Mad World is more than just a haunted house. There are escape rooms, scary carnival games, concessions, bonfire, amazing photo opportunities, a gift shop, and our brand new 18-hole Ghost Town mini golf. Mad World has scary entertainment for all ages, including families, adults, teenagers, and the eternal monkeys at heart. Located in Piedmont off I-85, exit 35. Mad World Haunted Attraction
gotta get
is
numbers
the place
against
to
the
be
Giants.
this Halloween season. Don't miss it.
I somehow
Buy
still
your
win my
tickets
fantasy.
now at
No idea how.
madworldattractions.com.
With
That's
2.44
madworldattractions.com.
I
So
struggle
I got
with
DK
symptoms
tonight
like
and
my gas and
the
stomach
kicker,
pain
and
for
I'm down.
years.
I was
He gets like
bloated all the
108,
time with
99.
daily diarrhea.
Okay, so you need
At
He's
first,
got
I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was
he
stomach
has
issues.
somebody going tonight that's not.
So I
Oh,
did
no,
my
he had.
research and
I
talked to my
applied
doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
So he's done.
It was actually
108.44 out of
EPI.
99.34.
Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea,
Where would he want if I
gas,
had just played
bloating,
Tannehill?
stomach pain, unexplained weight loss,
Tannehill and
and oily
Darnold are your
stools.
options.
And
Yeah.
EPI symptoms can be
That's it,
confused
yeah,
with
yeah.
those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and
Picked
celiac
up Lawrence.
disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more
beautiful
open
hair.
with my
That is
doctor about the
beautiful.
severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's
Okay.
good news. EPI is manageable.
Well, I had Mac on my
So
bench
don't wait
just
any
because my
longer.
team's called.
Use the symptom
Back
checker
to the
at
future.
identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or
That was
call
it.
your doctor to ask, could I have
I'm
EPI?
like, I'm not now. I might look good.
This report is
We put a jet
sponsored by
every week.
Bojangles.
It's bow time.
I like go ahead.
Some folks say, don't call it a comeback.
Yes.
But when the sizzling, savory pork chop grillers back in all its tender
First two
glory,
touchdowns of
and
the
you can
day
snap
yesterday
up
were
2 of them for just $5,
a wide receiver and a
go
running
ahead. Call it a comeback. It's bow time.
Prescription products require
Name
online
it.
consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED
See this
is common. About
list of
40%
injuries
of men
from Clemson?
experience ED by age 40, but the solution is simple. Find it at 4hims.com.
Because everyone who's been hurt, what games they've missed,
Yeah.
it's like this
That
long
was your
list.
copay.
You're like, good.
And the medication was shipped.
What are you
right
gonna
to
do?
my door.
Like, at that point.
Hims took care of it.
Fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever.
Get
My boy
access to
DK.
doctors online who can prescribe you
Love that guy.
FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the
15
occasion or your money back. Go to 4hims.com/joy to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to 4hims.com/joy. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
There's the rest, and then there's the best. You're listening to the best sports talk show in the state, according to the South Carolina Broadcasters Association. The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Couple of texts that have come in. Texter says, do you think the transfer portal can now make the transition years smoother for a program like South Carolina? I mean, they can help. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
of course they can help.
Absolutely.
It's not a guarantee.
I mean, it hurt in the front because we had a bunch of guys leave
Yeah.
because of the changing of coaches.
Yeah, but I mean, again, that's going to happen, and you hope that you can just make it up on the back end.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like this. I have a ton of problems with Dabo, but his refusal to play with the transfer portal, he's losing guys out, but refusing to get involved on it makes zero sense to
Yeah.
me, right? Well, he's taking a stand on principle. That's fine. What's that record say about principle right now?
Yeah, not good.
Yeah. What's that record say about principle? I don't know, man. Yes, it can. But again, you got to keep in mind, and this is where I will give Alonzo credence to his anti-transfer portal stance. Thing is, you really want to make sure that you are bringing guys in out of the portal because they want to be there and not you're just the only school that's going to bring them in and they're guns for hire, right? You want to bring in somebody who wants to be a part of it. And the question's going to be, are you putting enough out on the field right now to get those guys to go, South Carolina's where I want to go if they're getting offered from other schools?
It has to be
Not
treated.
guaranteed.
You got to treat it like it's a free agency in the pros. Like you're not just signing a guy because, well, we need a quarterback. He's a quarterback. Well, no. Like, does he fit? Is he right? Does he want this place to be his home? Is he going to fight for this team and play his best? Then we sign him. But nobody just goes out there signing guys to fill holes.
Correct.
So you definitely can't lean back on, hey, well, we need a guy to play that position. So sure, come on in.
Another texter says the real barometer for South Carolina will be in a few weeks when they head up to Missouri. If they can't lead a Mizzou program that's listless and going nowhere, then that's where you start asking questions. And spot on accurate. That team sucks.
Yeah, it's bad.
That team's real bad.
But Vandy wasn't much better, and that was a real close call.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say Vanderbilt is better.
Really?
Not overwhelmingly, right? But the difference is Vanderbilt, like guys who go to Vanderbilt because they want to be at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Right? They want to be there. Mizzou is not, there's just that kind of sense of you can call it white collar or upper crust or 1% if you want. But Vandy's like the Ivy League of the South, man. The guys who are there want to be at Vanderbilt. Mizzou, Mizzou's not that way. So I don't sense they have the same sort of fight as Vandy, but I could be wrong.
I could be wrong. That being said, I absolutely agree with this texter, Diddy.
Yeah.
If they go up there and the doors come off against Mizzou, then I'm going to sit back and go, is Beamer the guy?
Mm-hmm.
I've been screaming from the rooftops for the last handful of weeks. Guys, you are 8 games in to a first-year coach who took over from a disaster of your previous coach and didn't have an off season to operate in. Remember, he came in late during the COVID off season. That if either one of those situations take place, we think he starts behind the 8 ball. He had to do both of those things and take over for the dumpster fire and bus champ left behind. It is not time to panic, but if they are anything less, I'm not saying win, but anything less than uber competitive against Mizzou, that will be the first time that Rob Brown goes, now I got questions about Shane Beamer.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think it's fair, but also kind of unfair in a little bit of a way. We almost got to give him one chance to rehire, to get rid of Satterfield, move on, try to find a better offensive coordinator because it's not working. And if it continues to not work, that's a big sign, obviously, even in year one. Like the offense needs to start having some semblance of the ability to play the game of football. Right now, they don't look like they've ever played football before, that offense, at all. And that's embarrassing. That cannot happen. So he kind of should start getting some more heat because of it if it goes that way. But I still want to give him the chance to, find the right guys around him because let's not be crazy here and start a new rebuild again, over and over, and continuously call for coaches' heads. What worked at Clemson was giving Dabo the time to get through the bad years. Obviously, it was never as bad as this. Obviously, he was winning ACC championships, but it took 7-8 years to get to the playoff team that they became up until this year for the last 5 years. So we can't just turn around and say next year, well, let's start over again, because then you're in a perpetual cycle and you're never going to get even beyond. Mediocrity is going to be the ceiling at that point.
The problem you bump into, and I like I said in the last segment, I know I've drawn this comparison a lot before, but it reminds me of the last, let's call it, almost coming up on 10. Let's call it 7 years at Florida State, right? So Jimbo's there. And I wouldn't even say it's worse at FSU because remember, FSU won a national championship in 2013 with Jamison Jimbo. So they win a national championship. The next year, Jimbo is, I think, getting disillusioned. And listen, I'm going to tell you straight up, there was a lot going on behind the scenes with Jimbo at FSU that a lot of it's still not widely known. There are stories here that I'm not even going to repeat on the air that I was getting because I genuinely don't know if they're true, but there was just so many of them that you're like, even if 2 of these stories are true, it's bad.
That was real bad.
And then Texas A&M comes calling with effectively a blank check saying, whatever it takes to get you out of FSU, we're going to do it. Well, Jimbo knew that was coming and had effectively stopped recruiting for 2 years in Tallahassee. They were getting they went from bringing in top 10 classes to bringing in top 40 classes under a national championship winning coach. That's when FSU fans have remembered. I know all this because I was broadcasting in Florida an hour and 10 minutes outside of Tallahassee. I was right there. Florida State fans are calling my show going, wait a minute, why did we just win a national championship a year ago and now we're getting a top 50 class? And the answer is because Jimbo's not trying because he knows he's gone. It's just that the fuse is lit. He's just waiting for it to blow up. So he leaves and they bring in Willie Taggart. And Taggart was just not ready for that job. All right.
Somehow he failed up.
Yeah.
That's what I never understood about that hire.
It's if you never heard, it's Murphy's Law, right? Like Murphy's Law, not Murphy, a Peter Principle. It's the Peter Principle, which is that everybody will be promoted to the job one spot ahead of where their actual efficiency is, right? Like if you make a great waiter, you'll get promoted to bartender. If you make a great bartender, you'll be promoted to restaurant manager. But let's be real, maybe you're just a great bartender, right? But you're not ready. But and then you get to the manager job, and you don't know where your ceiling is until you hit it, right? Willie Taggart hit his ceiling. He was not ready. I don't know that he would have been successful at Oregon. He didn't have time to figure that out. But look at the comparisons. The story goes that when Taggart was meeting with, I think Thrasher was still president of FSU at the time, when he met with him and they said, why do you think this is, you're the right guy for this job? He went and he pulled out a picture of himself as a kid wearing FSU gear and went, I've always wanted to be here, right? Like this is, other guys can say this is my dream job. And that was enough to send Thrasher over the edge to believe that he was the right guy. And I'm looking at going, that's not how this works, dude. That's not
Because I got to tell you, Diddy,
Yeah.
I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid.
Right.
I have pictures of me as a kid dressed up as an astronaut. I had a huge space shuttle Challenger painting right over my wall. I was the loser that took those little green sticker stars, the glow-in-the-dark stars.
Yeah.
I took the time to climb up on a ladder and not just put them on my ceiling, Diddy. I put them in the actual constellations as they would appear in the southern or in the northern hemisphere. It was what's never happened? NASA's never called me and went, "Hey, Rob, we saw the picture of you dressed as an astronaut as a 7-year-old. How do you feel about space in January?" It's not going to happen because that's not how a resume works, right?
That's right.
So FSU blew it, and here's where you get into the dice, okay? After a year, Florida State fans were going, all right, wait. Off season, Jimbo left a mess. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. We got to give him time to get his guys in the system. All the things we're saying now. And then a year and a half later, we all went, nope.
Did not work.
Nope, because they never got better. And what I'm afraid of, especially with that almost step-for-step comparison analogy right down the road in Tallahassee, what I'm worried about is the more that I look week to week and see a South Carolina team not getting better, the more it pushes me toward the belief that Shane Beamer is Willie Taggart and not Dabo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that scares me a little bit because when Taggart got X'd mid-season, that set the program back to probably worse than they were before Jimbo left, right? Because now you got 2 years of Willie Taggart's dudes in there who aren't going to want to be there.
No.
Now you've got a system in place that did not work, that you X'd halfway through a season. And the more that I see a South Carolina team that is not competitive, I'm not saying he is. So before you start running me off the roads around Greenville, South Carolina fans, I'm not saying Shane Beamer is Willie Taggart 2.0. I'm saying the comparisons are there. And if he wants to stop those comparisons, then I need South Carolina to be good, not great, not competing for a championship, not trying to steal I need them to come out and execute and do the little things right and get the details right and be competitive and stop giving up on the football. And so far, it has been getting the last 3 weeks at least, Diddy, it has gotten progressively worse, not better, game by game.
Yeah, and I get it. That's totally fair. And I understand frustration because, trust me, it's not like I'm not frustrated about it all. As a fan, as an alum,
Sure.
It upsets me. It angers me. But, you still have to play in the hope that maybe this is the guy that helped build that team when they were the years that we liked, that short run of awesome years of South Carolina football. He was a part of all of that. So the hope is that maybe he starts bringing in those guys to do that. And like you said, he didn't really have a chance to with the COVID offseason, with everything else when he came in late, lost some recruits because they wanted Muschamp and he left. We lost some players because they transferred out because Muschamp left. All of that kind of stuff hurt him as well. So I just can't jump to this, it's end of days like some of our texters are doing right now, that it's a bust. You can't call him a bust right now, I don't think. But yes, the fear has to be there. The worry has to be there that it could end up being what FSU saw. But it also could end up not and could end up really, really good. And at least he's a guy with the passion to want it. So you got to kind of rally behind and hope that leads to something. But if we're sitting here a year from now and we're in the same boat, I'll jump on that ship with everybody and say this is a bust, this is a failure.
Yeah, keep in mind, again, while we're making these comparisons, Willie Taggart was a passionate guy about the job. Willie Taggart loved that job. He was all in. He was tomahawk chopping the moment he got off the plane. The guys were out there swagging with him. I mean, everything that are the bright spots about Beamer were Willie Taggart too. And this is why I've said a couple of times, while I'm trying to be optimistic, as I've said many times on the show, I'm not a Gamecock fan, but I've got a vested financial interest in that team doing well. Same for Clemson, same for the Panthers. I make more money when those teams are good. And at the end of the day, that's why I'm here. All right. Being passionate about a job is not a qualification. It's really not. There are a lot of guys out there that want to do jobs. Hell, like ours, Diddy. There's a lot of guys. We probably get 30 people a day sending in CDs and demo tapes to do this job who have a passion, who would be willing to live in the studio to get the job. Does not make them good at it. And that's the question mark here. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Let's break down Clemson. The L to Pitt. If I'd have told Clemson fans, Diddy, a year and a half ago that they were going to lose to Pitt, they'd have had an aneurysm.
Yep.
But here we are. We'll break that game down next on The Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate, baby.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say play ESPN Upstate.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is ESPN Upstate.
No, yeah. My brain keeps going to it because I'm used to. I don't think I've done a show with somebody in studio with me in 2 years. So
Joint
I'm used to
pain
them,
relief
you guys being
doesn't
out
have to
somewhere,
mean
and I'm
drugs and
always turning
surgery.
it on and off.
Now there's a better alternative that patients are raving about.
John Boy and Billy here
Also
for our
used to,
friends at
when I used
QC
to do
Kinetics,
this all the
local
time, I
medical
also didn't know you
professionals
had
that use natural biologic treatments. Highly
Yeah,
concentrated healing properties from your own body put directly into the
Yes.
affected joint, restoring and repairing
I always
damaged
forget about
tissue
it
the
when I
way
was
your
sick.
body
I feel
was
like an idiot.
designed to heal.
If you're tired of the Band-Aid solutions
Like,
like
excuse
drugs
me,
and
my bad, y'all, then I
steroids,
went
and you
down to see
really
the
want to
cop, and I'm
avoid
like, I could've just,
surgery, you need to check out QC
surfed that whole moment.
Kinetics. Regenerative, restorative, natural treatments for knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, pain in your hips.
Don't continue to suffer and don't go in for surgery until you check this out.
Some of
See
it,
if
I
you're
didn't
a
see it until
candidate
last
with
night.
QC Kinetics.
Call 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. No surgical pain relief with lasting results. 864-448-3772.
Fall in South Carolina means using the AC during the day and the heater at night. When your HVAC unit stops working, you need a company you can trust. Priority Heating and Air HVAC Specialist will give your system a thorough checkup. And if you need a new unit, Priority Heating and Air is a proud distributor of the Coleman line of HVAC systems. So keep your family or business comfortable and give Priority Heating and Air a call today at 591-847 or find them online at PriorityHeatingandAirHVAC.com.
Priority Heating and Air.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a broken traffic light. Stop and go is the name of my game. It's easy. You go, they go. Or was it they go, you go? And if you have the wrong car insurance, these repair costs could stop you in your tracks. So get Allstate's new low auto rate and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Not available in every state based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Well, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Dad, is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I live with my mom. But the most important thing to know is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/free. How much? Free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Oh, according to research, 82% of people will remember radio ads. So 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again,
So I think it's
that's
time that UCF
ZipRecruiter.com/free.
citronauts wearing that space stuff every year.
I love it, dude.
So love it. That's the coolest thing they ever do every year.
This season, the flu and COVID-19. And now you can get both shots at the same visit. Learn more at cdc.gov/vaccines.
Opinions wanted.
Opinions are like what to say. Everybody has one.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Local sports talk on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
All right, we're going to talk more South Carolina later on in the show, but let's get to Clemson as they go on the road and they get knocked out by the Pitt Panthers. If I'd have told Clemson fans a year and a half ago they were going to lose a game to Pittsburgh in the next 4 or 5 years, they'd have had an aneurysm. DJ Uiagalelei, 12 of 25, a buck 28, and a pair of interceptions, including probably the most genuine WTF moment of the season when he tried to throw a little inside shovel pass, and I mean, he all but handed it to the Pitt linebacker who brought it back 50 for a touch. DJ ended up getting benched in the second half for Tyson Fomenchon, who went 3 of 7 for 23 yards. So not exactly a stellar role there. It was a weekend of quarterbacks getting benched around Carolina, as Zeb Nolan was benched for Jason Brown, DJ for Taysom, and Sam Darnold got benched for PJ Walker in the Panthers game, which we're going to break down coming up in the next hour. We'll open with the Panthers. Corey Diaz of the Greenville News, the Carolina beat writer for the Greenville News, is going to join us at 1:30, so we'll talk to him a little bit more about the Gamecocks. But, look, Will Shipley, 10 carries, 52 yards, 50 on the ground for DJ and a touch. Kobe Pace had 33. It was, I don't know, man. Like, it just was not a good day for Clemson. I don't think there was anything. Even the vaunted defense of Clemson, which at the beginning of the year, I mean, look, I go back to that. How much better does that Georgia game look now? But it was supposed to be a year, and Dabo even said it last week. He said, look, if we're a team that scores 14-17 a game and we win by scoring 14 or 17, then that's what we are. We're going to lean into that. And then they turn around and give up 27 to Pitt. And hey, look, that's a 6-1 Pitt team. That is a Pitt team that right now, not that they will not, but they have the best odds in the ACC of making the playoff. Again, they won't, but they have the best odds of doing it. But they are the best looking team in the ACC, not because they're great, but because Clemson isn't, right? Exactly. Kenny Pickett, 25 of 39, 302 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. Rodney Hammond Jr., 11 grabs for 66. Abekanada had 56, 30 for Vincent Davis. Kenny Pickett had 7 carries for 15 yards on the day as well. I just, I don't know, Diddy. Like, I try to silver linings these type of games. I got nothing for Clemson. The play calling was as bad as it's been all year. This time on both sides of the ball. Kenny Pickett was basically picking and choosing his spots all day. In games past and L's past for the 3 losses for Clemson this year, you've been able to at least circle and go, okay, but here's a bright spot. Here's a bright spot. I got no bright spots for this game from Clemson. I have nothing good to say about Clemson in this game.
Yeah, and I've tried to defend DJ a lot this year, and for the most part, I think throughout the season so far, it hasn't really been on him as much as people are trying to make it about him. That offensive line hasn't given him a millisecond to do anything, but this one was all on him. Those interceptions, both of them were really bad. The shovel pass, obviously the worst of both of them, and just every aspect of this football game, they just looked lost. They don't look like a team who's been in the playoff for 5 straight years. They don't look like a team who's supposed to be flirting with another playoff berth this year, and now isn't.
They definitely ain't.
Yeah, so it's just really weird to see, but again, it's just such a war of attrition, I think, and eventually you're going to have to come down to earth a little bit. It's miraculous that it took them this long to have a bad year again and then probably bounce back because they'll get all the recruits. They'll be healthy, hopefully, next year. It's a lot of things with injuries. A lot of guys transferred. A lot of guys went pro. You're going to deal with having a bad year. But to see how bad they looked Saturday was a different level. And it's really hard to pinpoint why or how. And maybe you do start having to question the offensive play calling and who's making it. And maybe it's not going to work. Maybe they need to get somebody who's going to make a better offense and put it together a better offense. Even with the injuries, you've got to look better than you looked on Saturday.
I'd make the argument. You say it's hard to pinpoint why. It's not because it's hard to pinpoint because it's because there's so many things.
Well,
right?
Yeah. So it's one thing.
It's like saying, it's hard to throw a bullseye, sure, to name the one big thing, but it's not hard to hit the dartboard because you got a lot of room, a lot of options up there. The offensive line is bad. It's been bad all year. You can utilize that as a defense for DJ Uiagalelei if you prefer, but he's not been good. All right. No. He's not been good. Dr. Pepper's looking for a refund. He's not been good. And this game was no different. But like I said, I've been able to go back and circle. Okay, Kobe Pace, $130 in one game. That's a good bright spot. Over on the defensive side, the defensive line has been hassling quarterbacks. That was not there. The linebackers have been covering up the run game. That was not there. Pitt was doing whatever the hell they wanted, and this was not Georgia. This was not Alabama. This was not Ohio State. This is a good but not great Pitt team that picked and called their spots and did whatever they wanted all game long. Like I said, in L's past this year, there's and in close wins, there's been spots you can circle and go, do that better, you'll be fine. I got nothing. I got nothing for Clemson right now at all. Talk more about that as we roll on. Final break of the hour. Come back, wrap up hour 1, get to hour 2, talk some Panthers as well on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer anytime at ESPNUpstate.com.
So the eating holidays are upon us. You're thinking this is not a time for me to try to lose weight, but it absolutely is the perfect time for you to lose weight with the Health There. Why? Because what you normally eat for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for New Year's, you can still eat that stuff with the Health There. You absolutely can. You know what you can get a head start on that New Year's resolution. A lot of people are going to be doing what they do every year, heading to the gym, paying a bunch of money for a gym membership that they're never going to use. Well, you don't have to worry about that, because if you go with the Health There, it is a plan that will work for you. You'll lose weight in 30 days guaranteed, or your money back, and you don't have to do it alone, because with the Health There, it is buy one, get one free. I mean,
I did see those. Those ones were awesome too.
From work, you pay half, they pay half. You
I don't know why City hasn't done anything.
It's so easy to get started with the Health There. Just go to idameme.com.
That's
fill out some information, and one of the Health There coaches will bring you in for a free consultation, get you on the way to losing that weight. Go to idameme.com today. When you're there, make sure you tell them that Lonzo dared you.
From 106.3 WORD Weather Center, here's the Upstate's most trusted forecast on ESPN Upstate. Temperatures hold fairly steady through the afternoon, occasional sun with areas of light rain. Chance of showers and storms early tonight. Will cool to low near 50, high of 71 on Tuesday. Wednesday, high of 70. I'm meteorologist Laura Lockwood on ESPN Upstate. Right now, 74.
Keep up to date with every Upstate high school football game in real time with the ESPN Upstate score stream at ESPNUpstate.com. Set up a profile, create your feed, and follow your favorite teams. Know when the big plays happen and when the games go final. The ESPN Upstate score stream. Get all the high school football scores in one place at ESPNUpstate.com. Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents.
And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb. All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs.
Like last year.
Only pay for what you need.
When did we talk about that? Like, why are you?
Attorney Joe Cordell. New school, new job, new home. Change is hard and can leave you feeling isolated. And divorce delivers one of life's hardest blows. The relationships you counted on are suddenly gone. But you don't have to walk through this alone. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has guided men through the challenges of divorce. You're not alone. Call Cordell & Cordell.
Online at CordellCordell.com. 5580 Place, Suite 900, Greenville, South Carolina, 29601. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Spectrum Mobile is reinventing wireless again. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month per line. No contracts, no added taxes or fees. Includes nationwide 5G. Save up to 60% with Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month. Call 855-438-2999 or visit the store near you.
Offer valid for new customers on 2+ unlimited lines. Spectrum Internet required. Savings based on 2-line comparison of unlimited plans among major national carriers as of 9/20/21. Prepaid excluded. Restrictions apply.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now open. Voted one of America's top haunts and #1 in South Carolina. Venture through the haunted house and trail full of elaborate sets, special effects, and top-notch actors. Play our creepy carnival games and escape rooms, or check out our brand new 18-hole Ghost Town Mini Golf. Grab your friends and get ready to scream. Located in Piedmont off I-85, exit 35. Buy your tickets now at MadWorldAttractions.com. That's MadWorldAttractions.com.
Ricky's Compass is a 501c3 nonprofit focused on shattering the stigma that surrounds mental health, and they want to give you a platform to share your mental health journey. Visit rickyscompass.org today and shatter the stigma that surrounds mental illness.
So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and his exact words were, "It changed my life. I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub. It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, doors, and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, greatest invention ever."
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV.
And I'm the girl from that alien movie you watch on demand. Our worlds have been brought together thanks to DirecTV Stream.
Why are you whispering?
Because the alien will hear us.
Maybe let the alien know you can get DirecTV Stream with no annual contract.
He seems pretty excited by that, actually.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at directv.com.
She bailed on me to sit at the other side of the stadium. And
This
I'm by myself in the
report is
student
sponsored
section.
by Gatorade and Spanx. The
I can't remember
ACC
who the running
football
back was that
championship is
scored,
coming
but
up,
scores a
and you
touchdown
can
to make
win
it
free tickets at
63-17. I'm
Spanx.
like,
Now
yeah, that's
you can
right.
win
Way to
tickets
go.
at Spanx. Just scan the QR code on the
Apparently I was on
Gatorade for a
ESPN.
chance to win free tickets. Come win big at Spanx,
A little bit
making
embarrassed.
life easier. No purchase necessary.
Showing the Rob Brown lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1 here on the radio broadcast. I am Rob Brown. Diddy on the ones and twos, filling in for the great one, Lonzo, today. Coming up next hour of the show, we will lead off with some Carolina Panthers talk. I said yesterday on the Carolina Kickoff Show, which originates live, of course, from Wings Etc. in Boiling Springs every Sunday, 2 hours before kickoff. Make your plans to come join me this Sunday afternoon. I thought that game against the New York Giants was a must-win for Carolina. I really did. 3 losses in a row. I thought that was the one they needed to win against a bad New York team, a New York team that was banged up, missing their top 2 wide receivers. And not only did they not win, it was easily the worst L of the year for the Panthers. I try not to over-exaggerate the importance of one game. This is a body blow. We're going to break that down. When we come back, Corey Diaz of the Greenville News joins us at 1:30 to break down the Gamecocks. We're back with hour number 2 after this on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville, WORD Spartanburg, W249DL Greenville, W246CV Spartanburg, WFBC-FM HD3.
An Odyssey station.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on ESPN Upstate. Game 1 of the World Series Tuesday night in Houston. The Braves start right-hander Charlie Morton. The Astros start lefty Framber Valdez. Atlanta able to close out the Dodgers in 6 games with a 4-2 win on Saturday.
Downfield, and it is caught. Touchdown, Atlanta. And you know who is in the end zone? Russell Gage.
The call on the Falcons radio network in Sunday's 30-28 win at Miami. 2 touchdown passes in the victory for Matt Ryan. 25 of 40 passing for 336 yards. Cordarrelle Patterson rushed for a score. Younghoe Koo with a 36-yard field goal to win it as time expired. The Giants pounded the Panthers 25-3. Carolina with just 173 offensive yards in the loss. That, along with the 3 points, team lows since head coach Matt Rule took over last year. Classic Rock 101.1 airs Carolina Panthers football every Sunday. Carolina kickoff starts 2 hours before kickoff. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
Can they coexist, says Lonzo. I have this sound clip of Kevin Durant in a press conference after the trade was announced. This is what happened.
I know you don't want to get into things until they are official, but what was it like to play with James? What do you remember about him as a teammate? Because you have played together.
It was fun.
Sounds like a guy ready to coexist to me, Lonzo. Hey, Kevin Durant, you played with James Harden back in the OKC Thunder days. I mean, this is a guy that's your new teammate. Chance for you to talk him up, make him sound good. What do you remember about playing with him?
It was fun. Well, now we can use that quote anytime someone asks about you. You used to work with this guy. What was it like? It was fun.
Yeah, I'm going to be bringing that all the time. And not just about guys that work. Ask me about anything. Hey, Rob, remember that time that you worked in Jacksonville and you lost a girlfriend, a job, and a dog all in 3 days? What was that like?
Hey, happened on the top. Catch the Rob Brown Show weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate. Keep up to date with every Upstate high school football game in real time with the ESPN Upstate score stream at ESPNUpstate.com.
I was thinking that's what it was. I was like, oh.
Set up a profile, create your feed, and follow your favorite teams. Know when the big plays happen and when the games go final. The ESPN Upstate score stream. Get all the high school football scores in one place at ESPNUpstate.com. Warning.
And check this out.
For unofficial Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Our numeros to the Rob Brown Show gets going now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello to you, and how do you do, South Carolina? Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown. Diddy filling in for the pinnacle of professionalism, Alonzo, today on the ones and twos, spicing it up and dicing it up with us. He'll be with us, today and tomorrow, I believe you're
Today and tomorrow.
Today and tomorrow. DJ Tim will be in with us Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the great one makes his ever so triumphant return to the show next week. But we are more than glad to have Diddy along for the ride with us. We spent the first hour talking college ball as the Gamecocks of South Carolina get absolutely look. You can call it not. I mean, it technically was not a shutout in that they scored twice, but the two touchdowns were late second team defense touchdowns. I mean, South Carolina might as well have gotten blown out. Clemson goes on the road up to Pitt. They take an L as well. And to complete the trio of sadness this weekend, your Carolina Panthers end up getting absolutely skunked by the New York Giants as well. And it, Diddy, was, to put it lightly, very bad. It was very bad. 25-3, your final score in that one. In a game that ultimately Matt Rule would probably prefer to forget. The Panthers get a field goal early in the game. They would make a couple more trips, but not many, into the red zone. One of those resulted in a Sam Darnold interception. 16 of 25 for $111 and a pick went Sam Darnold. A QBR of 57.3. PJ Walker would come in. Matt Rule said that this is not a permanent switch at the quarterback position, that Sam Darnold will return as the starter this week, but that he was just looking for a, quote, little spark, end quote, which, hey, I get it. If PJ Walker comes in and maybe you shift up the game a little bit, he can create some issues the Giants weren't anticipating. He could not. He did not. And the Panthers just look bad. 12 carries, 28 yards for Chuba Hubbard. Royce Freeman had 3 for 18. PJ Walker, 113-yard scramble. Shi Smith, the former Gamecock, had a carry for -3 yards. 73 yards on 6 receptions for DJ Moore. 4 out of the backfield for Chuba Hubbard, 28 yards. Keith Kirkwood, 3 for 16. Robbie Anderson, 3 catches, just 14 yards on the day. And I got to tell you, Diddy, I'm kind of tired of Sam Darnold taking heat, because this is not on him.
No.
This is not on Sam Darnold. All right. The offensive line is perhaps worse than I expected. And I'll be honest, the bar wasn't real high as far as expectations go. I think Anderson had 1 or 2 drops. I think DJ Moore had 2 drops. I want to say that over the past 4 weeks in the losses, the Panthers receivers have, if they ain't had a dozen drops yet, they're all over it. I bet you they are, without having the stat right in front of me.
I want to say I saw them say something about 13
Yeah.
in the past few weeks.
Yeah. It's been bad. If you turned all of the drops of the wide receivers into completions, Sam Darnold's season looks much better than it is. All right.
Oh, yeah.
This is not on him. This is on the offensive line. This is on the wide receivers. But the defense, I mean, look, it's supposed to be a vaunted defense. The talent's there between Reddick, between Burns. This defense, Derek Brown, this defense is supposed to be what carries Carolina. They didn't show up either.
They didn't show up either. Daniel Jones ends up 23 of 33 for 203 and a touch. Devontae Booker, 14 carries for 51 yards. I mean, they only gave up 103 yards on the ground, which is not an awful day against a primarily running football team. But this is not Saquon Barkley.
No.
This is Devontae Booker. It's not a terrible running back, but he ain't Saquon. And on top of that, the Giants were missing not one, but their top two starting wide receivers with Golladay and Kadarius Toney both out. Darius Slayton, 5 grabs, 63, 6 for 44 for Evan Ingram, who is a tight end, by the way. Dante Pettis, 5 for 39. John Ross, 2. Ultimately, including Daniel Jones, who had 1 catch for 16 yards, because why not make it weird? That's their quarterback, by the way, for those of you playing the Rob Brown Show Home Edition. 10 different Giants receivers caught a pass in this game. 10 different receivers caught a pass in this game. You can't have that. Okay,
not at all.
You can't have that. It is bad enough, Diddy, and I want to. We'll come back to the X's and O's in a minute. But this morning, multiple reports that the Carolina Panthers have re-engaged with the Houston Texans about trade talks for Deshaun Watson. Okay, when you look and you go, okay. On one hand, we can keep working. It's frustrating because, like I said a second ago, I don't believe this is on Sam Darnold. So you bring in a guy. Does it matter who's back there if your offensive line is just Swiss cheese style? Does it matter when you've got that many holes? You put Deshaun back there. This team's still not winning that game yesterday.
No.
Okay, still not winning that game yesterday. And this is against effectively last year's Giants team, right? Kenny Golladay was an addition this year. Kadarius Toney brought up in the draft. This is against last year's Giants team, Diddy, a team that averaged 17 points a game last year. You gave up 25. You got a field goal on the day. You busted a report earlier. Tell everybody what you saw this morning about play calling.
Apparently, Matt Rule was asked about if somebody else was going to start making the offensive play calls, and he kind of danced around it without saying no, saying that there was a meeting this morning with Joe Brady and others, and never really said no, but then kind of eventually led to, but I don't think that's what the problem is. Which, isn't it, though?
Here's the thing. I mean, yes, but here's the thing. This is something, and I think we kind of had this discussion about South Carolina earlier, right?
Yeah.
I don't like the phrase, I don't think that's what the problem is, because it insinuates there is only the problem.
Exactly.
There are a handful of the problems
yes.
for the Panthers right now. This defense is the problem. They were supposed to be one of the better defenses in the National Football League. They ain't.
No. They were for 3 weeks, not the last 3.
Yeah. Now, Diddy, we haven't had you on since the NFL season started on this show anyway.
Yeah.
After the 3-game win streak to open the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we started the year, and I could be wrong, correct me, I don't want to speak for you, but if I recall correctly, when we did the first Carolina kickoff show, you and I both said that we're looking for a 500 record this year.
Yep.
500 shows upward trajectory. Now, I will say the same thing about the Panthers as I did the Gamecocks. At the end of the day, records are relevant. I'm looking for improvement. Can I, at the end of the year, circle different aspects of the stat sheet and go, okay, this team is better at this than they were in week 1. They got better here, and here. And can I say this team improved?
Yeah.
And I got news. Right now, nope.
They seem to be backtracking, to be honest.
So after 3 games, which, by the way, and again, I know I'm harping on this, and I know y'all hate when I harp and I repeat things, and that's okay, but sometimes things are repeated for a reason. Game number 1, the New York Jets are bad at football.
Yes.
Week number 2, the New Orleans Saints are okay at football. They're, I think, 4-point favorites against the Seahawks on the road tonight, meaning Vegas thinks they're a touchdown better. But remember also that week, they had 5 starters out for that game, and 9 assistant coaches out for that game because of COVID. Yep. You say what you ask, our excuse, Rob. No, that's a reason, okay? It's a reason. When Sean Payton is missing 9 pairs of eyeballs analyzing the game in real time. This is true, did he? His executive assistant was serving as offensive analyst. You know what an executive assistant is in the corporate world?
It's the guy that gets coffee.
It's a secretary.
Yeah.
Bingo. It's a secretary. Sean Payton's personal secretary was his offensive analyst. I don't think he's going to, or she is going to have the football mind that the 9. Okay, so you beat them in week 2, and then all of a sudden Panthers fans are feeling themselves a little bit at 2-0. Then you take on the Houston Texans. Wow, they're bad. Okay? Not a good football team, and you go 3-0. And then, Diddy, I started getting Panthers fans texting the show. Rob, you said 500. We're going to go 12-5, 13-4. Rob, we're making the playoffs this year. In fact, I got a tweet, and I wrote it down somewhere. I got to go dig it out. But I had a tweet from a guy when I said, hey, slow your roll. You're still batting for 500 here. 500 will be a good record. Who wrote me and said, we're not losing to Philly. We're not losing to Minnesota. We're not losing to the Giants. We're not losing to the Saints. We're not. Went through. He's like, we're 13-5. And all this, we're 13-4. I said, slow your roll up, big dog. Holla back at me when you win the next 3. Right? Holla back at me when you beat Philly, when you beat Minnesota, when you beat the Giants. If you go 3-0 in those games, I might go, okay, you're onto something here. Instead, 0-3 against those teams, and then you toss it. And the loss to Dallas is fine. That's a good team, and you were on the road. Happens. But I had a lot of tweets from a lot of Panthers fans up in their feels telling me we're not losing to Philly, we're not losing to Minnesota, we're not losing to the Giants. We're going to end up 6-1 to start the year. Where y'all at? I haven't heard. All of a sudden, I can't dig those people's tweets up anymore for some reason. I'm not saying they were deleted. I'm saying I can't find them in my feed.
Look, I got swept up in it a little bit too, and kind of showed that on our show over on Classic Rock. You know, I was a little positive going into the Dallas game. I knew they'd lose the Dallas game. But we broke down that schedule right after that, thinking, man, if they can stand up and play with Dallas, they can beat the next 5 teams possibly. You know, obviously it's the NFL. It's the reason why we have the slogan, any given Sunday. Anything can happen. It can. But for some reason, it seems from when that game went south on them in the second half against Dallas, the entire season went south. The way they played against Houston, even though, yes, Houston's bad, they looked really good on that Thursday night. Even against a bad team, the way they were executing, the way Darnold looked, the confidence he was having in that football game was like, okay, this is showing us that forward progression that we wanted. This is showing us a team that could get some stuff done, maybe flirt with a playoff spot, but at least give us what we wanted, that forward progression, 500 or maybe a little better. But then right when that bad call happened against Dallas, should have been a fumble. Everything imploded, and it has not recovered. And it's a plethora of reasons. But it's mind-boggling in the same note because, man, they should have beat Philly. They could have come back and won last week and failed. And then this week was just an abysmal failure. And it's gotten worse each loss because they were kind of in those games, and this time they were not.
Even close.
And the Giants are not a good football team.
No.
They might be the best team in New York, but that's not saying anything.
No, yeah, exactly. I went back, and we talked about those 3. The Philadelphia Eagles are okay.
Yeah.
They're okay. Winnable game. If that's the only game of these 3 you lose, all right. In fact, I said on the show last week, Diddy, you were out. We had Chris in on the Carolina Kickoff Show, but I tried all week to tell Panthers fans, hey, slow up. This Minnesota team's not bad. They ain't great. They're not bad. Dalvin Cook's the real deal. Their front 4 is as good as anybody's in the league, Carolina's included. And we know Kirk Cousins just has these games where he remembers how to be a good quarterback. It's weird. So the Minnesota loss, if that's the only loss, fine, I can accept that. And then had you gone 2-0 in the last 2, but you got banged up and you went on the road up to New Jersey and lost to the Giants, maybe if that was the only loss, I still probably couldn't have accepted it. It's a bad loss to a bad team. But then you got blown out.
Yeah.
Then you got blown out. I expected a rebound. And as Denny pointed out, you didn't rebound, you regressed. You went the opposite direction. You went the wrong way. I don't know, by the way. If anybody costing themselves money at the rate Joe Brady's costing himself money, that dude went from one of the hottest prospects to be the next Sean McVay to potentially being taken off the play calling responsibilities.
And O has been doing his best to make him look even better.
Yeah.
Until he started making himself look bad over here.
If Joe Brady's offense runs effectively, he's the head coach at LSU next year.
Yeah.
Straight up.
But they're probably not even thinking about him now.
No. Lane Kiffin's going to get that damn job now. Watch.
Oh, God.
The Lane train's going to roll into Baton Rouge because Joe Brady can't figure out how to run his offense. And listen, we've had Thursdays Rashad Beer joins us. He's tried to tell us. We've had Elena Getzenberg from the Charlotte Observer join us. She's tried to tell us. We've had the conversation about the offense is, and whether it should be or should not be is up for debate. But the offense without Christian McCaffrey is on hamstrung. All right, there's limit. It's so predicated on 20. But that's the problem, is that you have put so much workload on this cat that he can't stay healthy. The diagnosis is part of the problem here.
Yeah.
When he is the everything on offense, when he's touching the ball legit 40, 45 times a game, he's going to get hurt. That's how football works. And y'all have not figured out anything else. Now, I got to tell you, 2 weeks ago when Robbie Anderson had his outburst on the sideline, he said, look, that interception that sealed the game for Minnesota, for Philly, was completely unnecessary. I'm running single routes on every single play. They're anticipating and jumping it. I need to run double routes. We need to vary. He was right. He was correct in his assertion of the offense. And then what happened? Nothing's changed. And, I come down on the side of the players more often than I don't. And I do here as well. Here's the thing to me, Diddy. I've had the same conversation about Clemson's wide receivers. Why are they giving up on the ball? Because 90% of them are being whizzed over their head. Yeah. Why am I going to fight my ass off for something that has a 10% chance of working out? And if it's 90% fails, I'm also going to get hurt doing it, right?
Exactly.
Anderson and Moore are eventually going to give up when Sam Darnold's getting chased around the pocket more often than he's not and can't let their routes develop. So they're basically yard balling it. Why are they going to bust it? And when the ball does get there, they most of the time ain't ready for it because they're trying to improvise an offense. It has to get better.
It does. That offensive line has to get better. That's the biggest thing, too. Like, how can they fix that offensive line? Because they really need to, because it's not working, to get any confidence in Sam Darnold's life. His fundamentals that they apparently worked on all offseason are gone. They're absolutely gone. He looks like the guy who played for the Jets again. Even though the first 3 weeks we thought, ooh, this is the Sam Darnold we thought the Jets were going to have. But now it's right back to the same thing. It falls on that offensive line. And so does the development of Chuba Hubbard. Because this is a moment where you had a chance with CMC down, which is crushing for that team, to develop the confidence and abilities of Chuba Hubbard so that when CMC's back, you get that thunder and lightning back that you used to have in the good days of Carolina Panthers football. Those two-headed beast running backs that they had when they went to the Super Bowl 2 different times were because you had a guy like Chuba Hubbard secondary to your superstar. And it's not helping him gain any confidence for him to not be able to find any lanes, to get lit up in the backfield because the guy's coming free every time he gets the ball handed off to him. It's bad on that offensive line. I don't know if it gets much worse unless you're talking about the two colleges here in this state. Those are probably the only two offensive lines I've seen that are as bad as Panthers' offensive line is right now.
Yep. It's atrocious. And, the NFL is not Major League Baseball where you can just go out and find the piece, fill it in, and it works, right? I mean, the Braves lived by that this year. It is not how it works in the NFL. If there is a top tier left guard that is a game changer out there, you will have 22 other teams all bidding on him at the same time. Again, look at Deshaun right now. In any other sport, Deshaun Watson is toxic. Nobody's touching him. The NFL, he's got the Dolphins for sure.
Oh, yeah.
The rumor coming out of Charlotte is that the Panthers are now back in, and I'll bet you we hear of at least one other team, maybe the New York Jets, in the next couple of days, trying to get invested and involved as well.
Because when you need a quarterback, you need a quarterback.
There ain't but one of them out there right now.
And he's the only one.
Again, 22 lawsuits don't matter at the end of the day. And whether that's good or bad for the NFL, we can discuss and debate all day.
Yeah.
But the point is that the Panthers' issues have to be fixed internally because they're not just going to get fixed by the trade market like they do in basketball, like they do in baseball. It's much more complicated. And I got to tell you, similar to what we talked about with Shane Beamer, I'm not out on that rule right now, but I have turned the magnifying glass that direction. I have, because this This is coming down to you.
Yep.
This team gave up on you this weekend. How you gonna fix it?
And when the defense falters the way they did against a not good offense without Saquon Barkley,
without Saquon, Galloway, and
Galloway, and you're a defensive guru, that's that is when the microscope should be turned to you. That's what we did here with Muschamp for South Carolina. Why is the defense bad? That's what we were supposed to fix.
Correct.
The other side we thought would come eventually. So yeah, that defense has to be better.
All right, 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776 is the number. You can also text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We will read them on the air. Let's take a quick break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's Rob, it's Diddy, it's you, it's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
Mad World is open and ready to scare the daylights out of you, ladies and gentlemen. Last night, I was driving back from Anderson, as a matter of fact. Took the lady friend up to go pumpkin picking because it's fall. Shut up. And I thought, man, you know what? We got Thanksgiving around the corner. But it's Halloween, one of my favorite holidays of the year. And we drove right past Mad World. And I looked and I was like, dude, it's cool to look out from the outside. Imagine how cool it is on the inside. And if you've been to Mad World before, put it on the docket to go again this year because it is bigger, better, badder, and scarier than ever before. They have more scenes than they ever had before. They have more actors than they've ever had before. They have more technical effects than they have ever had before. They are set up to give you the best Halloween experience you have ever had. Mad World is open now, but trust me, go to madworldattractions.com and get your tickets and reserve your time online now because it is one of the most popular Halloween destinations in the Southeast. Why? It's the number one haunted attraction in South Carolina. Every year, it is voted as one of the number one haunted attractions across the entire country. There is a line. So go to madworldattractions.com, madworldattractions.com. Get your tickets, get your time, and get in to have the Halloween experience of a lifetime at Mad World.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on ESPN Upstate. Game 1 of the World Series this Tuesday night in Houston at Minute Maid Park. First pitch just after 8 o'clock. Lefty Framber Valdez starts for the Astros. Right-hander Charlie Morton gets the start for Atlanta. The Braves were able to close out the Dodgers in 6 games with a 4-2 win on Saturday. The Astros eliminated the Red Sox in 5 games with a 9-1 win on Wednesday. NFL Sunday, Younghoe Koo kicked a 36-yard field goal as time expired, leading the Falcons past the Dolphins 30-28. The Giants pounded the Panthers 25-3. The Packers 24-10 over Washington. The Bengals beat the Ravens 41-17. Tonight, the Saints visit the Seahawks. NBA Sunday, the Hornets beat the Nets 111-95. Tonight, the Hornets host the Celtics. The Hawks at home against the Pistons. The Pelicans visit Minnesota. ESPN Upstate is your home for Furman Paladins football every Saturday. Pregame starts 90 minutes before kickoff. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
High school football fans, I'm Cole Bryson. Get the scores, discussion, interviews, and more on the Saturday Morning Scramble powered by Founders Federal Credit Union. Every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. There's a snap. It's a reverse. Quay Meadows, right side. Touchdown. Quay Meadows. It is a one-score game.
Saturday Morning Scramble. ESPN Upstate. Everywhere on the Odyssey app. Powered by Ingles Market, official grocery store of the Saturday Morning Scramble.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One with a preview of Week 7 as the New Orleans Saints take on the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is coming off an overtime loss to the Steelers, which saw good play from their quarterback, Geno Smith, replacing the injured Russell Wilson. Now they host Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints, who are coming off the bye week. Running back Alvin Kamara says going into the off week with the win was a big plus.
You never want to lose a game going into a bye week. It kind of seems like you're not doing anything right when you lose and you got a break. But I mean, just going into that bye week, like some energy, like, we winners. The difference between 2 and 3 and 3 and 2 is
specializes in keeping your car on the road. Not sure how much life is left in your battery? Our professional parts people will test it for free. If it does need to be replaced, we'll help you find just the right one to fit your car. Our Superstar batteries are built to handle even the toughest conditions. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started. Plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
This feature sponsored by Dell. To run a growing business is to be on a journey. Dell Technologies advisors are here to help with the right Windows PC and tech solutions, so you can stop at nothing for your customers. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL to start a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
New FanDuel fantasy players. Your day is about to get 20%
More
better.
than any other day.
Start playing fantasy this football season, and FanDuel will give you a 20% bonus on your first deposit, up to $500. That's a big-time bonus, and all you need to do to claim it is make your first deposit. If you've never tried FanDuel, now is the perfect time to jump in. You'll love playing fantasy football on FanDuel. Not only is it easy to start, but you can set new lineups every game day, keeping the action fresh all season long. There are many types of game formats to choose from, and you can even play private contests with your friends. There's an awesome slate of games on hand this week and every week. So what are you waiting for? Get in on all the excitement and experience season-long wins without the season-long waits. Sign up today at FanDuel.com/play to claim your bonus and start playing today. That's FanDuel.com/play. Age and location restrictions apply. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit.
She's the one dropping puns on social media. So.
We're trophy hosts. Trophy winning hosts. Named the best sports talk show in South Carolina. The Star Award-winning Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, roll it on. The Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Didion on the ones and twos, talking some football with us today. Texter says, ESPN, the Panthers will be a terrible team until they get rid of the Christian McCaffrey contract. He is good, but you can't tie up that much money to a running back, spend it on a left tackle, a defensive end, and a cornerback, and you can find a minimum paid running back. They are in trouble for years to come. And the bad news for the Panthers, Diddy, is that text is correct. I know it is tempting when you have a guy that is as special at that position as Christian McCaffrey is. And I know it's tempting to want to tie him up for years, especially when the dude's 25 years old, right? Like the running back shelf is I'm not saying it is widely accepted to be 30. When an RB hits 30, there's very few of them that can keep going. And on top of that, the older the guy gets, he's going to slow down. That's just how it works. He's going to start to slow down. You've got him tied up till he's 30, effectively, 2029 and some change, but till he's basically 30 with nothing to do with that contract. Because I can also tell you, as much as the injury bug has bit CMC, and Diddy, you remember back in week 1 when we did the Carolina kickoff show, what did I tell you? I said, look, I'm afraid the injury bug is real for CMC. And once you get bit hard, it does not let go. That's what's happened. He was out X amount of games, 13 games last year. He's out till week 9. You still got 2 more weeks before he can come back. You got, I guess 1 more week, and then he can come back the week after that. But even if he does, I mean, there is no guarantee that says he comes back at all. And if he does, that he doesn't just get re-injured again, as has been the trend lately. And you got $64 million wrapped up in this cat that you can't put anywhere. I mean, even if a free agent guard does come available, he commands top dollar. You ain't got it right now to give to him, unfortunately. That texter is exactly correct, and it is the reason why you look. I mean, look. Let me come up with an example. Right, I looked down in New Orleans with Alvin Kamara, and they had, for the first year of Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram tied up with a bunch of money, or with a good amount of money. Ingram wanted more money, and the Saints went, no, bro, we're sorry. Like, we love you. We want you here. He was a huge part of the last couple of teams that have made playoff runs for the Saints.
but they weren't about to throw top dollar money. He went to Baltimore. What happened to Mark Ingram? He was okay.
Yeah.
They went and got Latavius Murray from the Vikings. Why? Because the Vikings didn't want to give him money. The Saints got him for a good deal, and he fit in great for a year and a half, and then he wanted more money. So what the Saints do, they moved on. They brought in Tony, the kid out of Notre Dame, who until his injury a week ago had been running the ball every bit as well as Latavius Murray, right? Now, I'm going to be intrigued to see what the Saints do after next year when Kamara's contract comes up. Do they make the same mistake the Panthers have done, wrap up a ton of money in this kid and watch the wheels come off? Does Alvin Kamara have the wheels come? I mean, maybe he's the exception to the rule, though $64 million is a lot to gamble on a guy being exception to the rule. But the point is, this texture is correct. There's so much money wrapped up in CMC right now that the clear positions of need, they're going to be hard to address for a couple of years, which means you may have stagnated your own team by poisoning the well with the CMC contract.
Yeah, and it stinks because it seemed like he was the kind of guy to break that mold of the recent history of the NFL that, running backs are a dime a dozen. We don't have to lock one in. We don't have to pay one a bunch of money to keep a running back around. He seemed to be the exception to that rule because of what he did right away when he got here to the Carolina Panthers. And then he got the 1,000 year, which was unheard of. So as all these things kind of led to say, maybe he's different, but unfortunately, they've jumped too quick and now they're stuck in this contract and he's hurt every year. And it's got to get to a point where, you have to try to figure out a way to get rid of that salary and find somebody else for cheaper. But how are they going to be able to do that? Who's really going to take that on right now when you haven't seen this guy play a full season in 3 years? So he needs to get healthy. And even coming back in 2 weeks, man, a hamstring for a running back, that could linger for years. That's something that could hamstring him literally. For years, because that's a muscle you need, probably one of the most muscles you need.
It's kind of the running muscle.
It's how you move forward with the football in your hand.
You ever pulled a hammy?
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And the problem with it isn't just the pain, because I mean the whole back of your leg turns into one big ass bruise. That's all it is. The problem with it is that you can genuinely feel like you're healed and like you're better, and then you go out for a light job and it's right back to where it was.
Yep.
It's just one step. But you add that to the knee, you add that to the elbow, you add that to the laundry list of other issues that Christian McCaffrey's had, and doing so at the most physical position in the NFL, right? Everybody says linemen. The thing is, linemen are engaging with contact on first move. Running backs are having linebackers taking running starts at them as they're running into the running start. It is the most physical position in the National Football League. And this is a guy who's been hamstrung with injuries for a year and a half now. Even if he comes back in week 9, forget he re-injures the hammy. There's nothing to say he doesn't get another one like has been happening. So when push comes to shove here, this texture's spot on. You've got so much wrapped up in this cat that it's going to be tough for you to make moves. If you had the NFL's best GM, right? I've watched, for instance, and I use the comparison because I'm a Saints fan, but, Mickey Loomis, the GM for the Saints, has been phenomenal at kicking the can down the road and kind of spreading money around. Even if you've got a guy like that, you'll still notice what you don't see Mickey Loomis doing outside of Drew Brees is locking guys in for big 6-year contracts worth, $100 million. Yeah. He spreads it out and gives smaller contracts and says, you're going to earn your contract a year at a time like any other employee. And if it costs him a player, it costs him a player. But I'm looking at a 6-year deal for McCaffrey that brings him till he's 30, worth that many millions of dollars. Plus, if you cut him, you're looking at cap space that's like quarterback level cap space, dead cap space. It was not a great idea, and now you're seeing why.
Yep.
It's just that simple.
It really is.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Corey Diaz is the Greenville News South Carolina Gamecocks beat reporter. We'll go back, take a spin, look behind us at last week's devastating L to Texas A&M. Gamecocks back home at Willie B this weekend against the Gators of Florida, and the SEC just announced, but a few minutes ago, that it is a night game, 7:30 kickoff at Willie B for the Gators and the Gamecocks. We'll break that game down next with Corey Diaz of the Greenville News right here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com. From the Ingalls Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Tired of living with awful joint pain? Well, if you've been to an orthopedic surgeon, you know the drill. Pain meds, steroids, physical therapy, right? When those Band-Aids don't work, you know what's next. Surgery. Major surgery.
John Boy and Billy here saying don't do it, not until you check out QC Kinetics. Get a second opinion. Learn all about these natural biologic treatments, restorative, regenerative alternatives that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your knees, shoulders, back, and hips, and other joints as well.
QC Kinetics uses natural biologics from your own body and concentrates them in the precise damaged area for lasting relief.
And it's an in-office treatment. No downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. Don't go under the knife if you don't have to. Call QC Kinetics. Get a second opinion right now. You got nothing to lose.
Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. Non-surgical regenerative options are here. 864-448-3772.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Think you might have you.
No, all good.
They've been hearing them. Sorry, guys. Do I do the one as well?
No.
Okay.
Straight to the area code.
Waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion. For your rebound, go to forhims.com/joy to get your first visit free. No copay required.
Hey, Cora, this is Diddy with the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Pretty good. How are you? Except for our team that you cover. A little rough, huh? Right. No doubt, no doubt. Well, we're back in just over a minute, so I'm gonna get you on hold. All right, thank you. I wish I didn't have a dog in the fight. It hurt.
Is that what he said? I don't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
He's
great. Go great. Except for our team that you cover.
He's a bad guy.
We're bad.
making money moves.
Yeah, just under a minute. Oh boy. Ooh, I should remember to put this up.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
You know that feeling when your team adds that one player you're looking for? Well, it's time your business knew how it felt too. LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 770 million professionals to find the right people for your role. Then their filtering and prioritization tools help you narrow down to just the most qualified candidate for you. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn #1 in increasing the quality of hire against leading competitors. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/sports. That's linkedin.com/sports.
All right, the Rob Brown Show back on your radio at ESPN Upstate. Rob Diddy filling in for the great one Lonzo today. Now joining us on the phone line, he's based in Columbia, South Carolina. He is the beat writer covering the South Carolina Gamecocks for the Greenville News. He is my amigo Corey Diaz, joins us here on the show. Corey, we're going to the ship, baby. The Braves are in.
We made it, brother. Now, had I been listening to one Rob Brown about 4 days ago, I would have thought that the Braves didn't stand a chance. But, that's what they've done all year long, right? They've just kind of proven all the doubters wrong. So I'm happy, man. I'm ready to get that thing going tomorrow night.
First off, Corey, I don't know what imposter you've been talking about. I never had anything but full confidence. Never had anything but the utmost confidence the Braves were in. So I don't know who hacked my Twitter feed, but clearly someone did. All right, let's jump into a couple of things. I'm gonna pepper you with a bunch of questions, Corey. So let's start with this. I thought this game might get out of hand, right? It's a good Texas A&M team, a team that beat Bama on that same field a few weeks back. I expected it to be an L. I expected Texas A&M to win this game decisively. What I expected out of South Carolina, though, was execution, was discipline, was getting the things right. This was the game to tell the rest of the SEC that they were trending upwards. And, man, Corey, if I'm looking for silver linings, I didn't see very many of them, big dog.
Yeah, it was pretty rough at Kyle Field, man. I look back to going into Saturday, my mind went back to the trip to Athens earlier this year. I thought, I still, after seeing A&M on Saturday, I still think Georgia is head and shoulders above the Aggies in terms of defensive talent. How they coach their guys up and just the sheer amount of disruptive ways, that they can impose on opposing offenses. I still think Georgia's leaps and bounds above what Texas A&M can roll out there, but Texas A&M does have lots of talent. That's not to say that. So, but you think back to that, Zed's the starting quarterback. He had started the 2 games previous to that, and the first 2 drives in Athens in a I would say even a better environment than what I saw at College Station this past Saturday. Zeb leads the offense down on the first 2 offensive drives against Georgia. Yeah, they can't finish. They have to settle for field goals. But hey, 2 drives, 6 points. At that point in the game, it was 14-6. And even at that point, there were other instances immediately after that where South Carolina could have put a little more heat, a little more pressure on the Georgia offense, maybe make things a little tighter. And South Carolina had that chance against A&M this weekend too. Jalen Foster, I still don't know how he intercepted that ball. It was one of the more impressive. It was far and away the most impressive play that any South Carolina played on Saturday. But they had a chance there. They were only down 7 after the punt return. You get the ball back there off of a turnover. If you can go down and muster some form of points, whether it's, going down and settle for a field goal again, or maybe you can punch it in. You just kind of turn up the pressure a little bit on the opposing team, and they couldn't do it. They get the really awesome pick, and then they go 3 and out, and they have to punt. And then what does A&M do? They still punt, and they go right back down the field, score a touchdown. And you really could sense it, after the punt return there. First time any A&M player touches the ball in an offensive mind frame, it takes Anaya Smith takes 95 yards to the house on the punt return, and you kind of felt then that this game was basically over. But you had a chance there early to add some kind of pressure, and you can't do it. And that's kind of what the theme, especially offensively, for the South Carolina team has been through 8 games, through 8 weeks this season. It's just missed opportunities, man. They had chances in the second half against Tennessee a couple of weeks ago to make it a 1-score game. Couldn't do it. We can go back and circle back to the Kentucky game, right? They had, 8 different chances to win that football game. Couldn't do it. So that's just kind of where this South Carolina team is right now. It's just missed opportunities.
Corey Diaz is the Gamecock beat reporter for the Greenville News. Joins us here every Monday on the Rob Brown Show. So walk me through, as I have tried to do with myself today, Corey, the emotion here. Because on one hand, I really like Shane Beamer, the dude, right? Like I feel like he genuinely has a passion. He genuinely wants to be able to get this team out of the doldrums and take South Carolina to the next level. But on the other hand, dude, I'm getting strong Willie Taggart vibes, right? Another guy that had passion for the program and really wanted to be there, and that was his dream job and wanted to elevate to the next level. And when it came down to it, he just wasn't good enough. I have said on the show today, Corey, it is way too early to slam the abort mission button on Shane Beamer. I think he needs time to get his guys into the program and maybe even figure out his system, not so much implement it. But to the South Carolina fans that have been texting my show en masse today and saying, Shane Beamer's just not that good, he's not the dude, what's your response after that game this weekend?
That's interesting. Again, I just look from somebody who's been watching the sport of college football since I can, have recollection and memories of doing it at whether I was 4 years old, 5 years old, whatever. To give a guy 8 games just really seems like such a knee-jerk reaction. But at the same time, I do think about, well, this is a guy who has not been a collegiate head football coach before. This is his first job, and his first head coaching job was an SEC job. Now, he's not the first guy to have ever done this, and he won't be the last. But you have to kind of think about a first-time head coach. Yeah, obviously Shane's, he's coached under Kirby Smart. He spent time under Phil Fulmer. He's been around some guys that are really, really, really credible in this sport. And I'm sure he's taken a lot of things from each of those guys, Lincoln Riley, all of these guys, even his dad, just taking different little bits and pieces and nuggets from each coach that he's worked with, to kind of form close to what his own identity would be as a head coach. But you still have to formulate you have to fill in those other areas of who Shane Beamer is going to be as a head coach. And I just don't know if you can do that 8 games into your first head coaching job. And again, it just so happens that his first job just comes under such a huge microscope with it being in the best conference, in the best sport in America. And it's just one of those things where, if he blinks his eye wrong, there's going to be critics for what he's doing. Now, look, you got to know, you got to figure out what you want to be offensively. You got to figure out what you want to be defensively, and you got to get the guys that really align with your ideals and your philosophies on staff. And I don't know if what we're seeing on offense is something that even Shane Beamer would be saying that that's our identity. I think he made a hire of a guy who he thought was the best candidate, and it turned out to not work. Whether it's players not being able to pick up on scheme and terminology or whatnot, or a guy who's been a head coach before and coached last year with an NFL team and spent time. I mean, Marcus Satterfield has been around this sport for a while, and maybe he just doesn't have a great grasp of his personnel. I don't. It's hard to say exactly what's going on when every week it's the same. It's almost like you can say it's everything. And and that's just not a suffice answer for people that follow this football program. And I 100% get that. So. I think probably at the end of the year we will see some changes, and then you just hope that you get guys in that fits more of your identity, your ideals, and your philosophy, and you can start to see this thing really turn a corner.
Corey Diaz for the Greenville News joining us here to talk some Gamecock football. All right, Corey, just announced a few minutes ago that South Carolina off this week. They've got Florida at home next week, and that is the SEC night game. That game going at 7:30 at Willie B. I got about a minute here, Corey, so condensed answer. What needs to happen in that game to kind of quiet Gamecock Nation and allow Shane Beamer to keep working? What's the best case scenario for the Gamecocks against Florida?
Score points. Is that condensed enough? Look, man, God, it's so elementary and fundamental, right? It's ridiculous. But the thing is that you have to sustain drives. You have to have more than one offensive first down through 3 quarters. You have to have more than 15 total yards of offense after 3 quarters. This is what you have to do. I mean, look, the defense has been good. I've been a fan of Clayton White and what he's done with this group. Who's another? I mean, look, let's be honest. I mean, outside of maybe the front 5 or 6 on the defense, he's done a great job of catching up the secondary with some guys that have never really played SEC football before. Defense has been pretty good. Offensively, just score points, man. More than 15 yards after 3 quarters. More than one offensive first down. Have a pulse. That's what you have to do.
Talking with Corey Diaz. He is the Greenville News beat reporter for your South Carolina Gamecocks. Joins us every Monday. Corey, hopefully next time we talk, buddy, hopefully the Braves will have already wrapped up a World Series championship. But either way, it's going to be a good week, big dog. We'll talk to you in a week, my man.
Sounds good, brother. Appreciate it. Y'all take care.
You got it. That's Corey Diaz. Follow him on Twitter at Corey Diaz, CORYDIAZ_TGN, as in the Greenville News. Check him out on Twitter. He is your must follow. If you're a Gamecocks fan, we're back after this to wrap up hour 2 on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Yeah, I meant to give you the 1 minute.
Oh, gotcha. I thought we were saying you were 9 minutes.
Let's try to time out the break.
All good.
Like his first 2 answers answered everything I was going to ask. So I'm good.
Be right back. Stream. Hang on just a
There's
minute.
a 5-minute even.
So don't talk bad about your boss anymore.
Never.
Unbelievable.
What? Whoa.
Unbelievable you said all those things.
Hey, they don't know which boss. I have like 5 jobs, man.
Fair.
Could be here, could be elsewhere. Who knows? Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Put the commissioner's trophy on a chain, man. Just wear that. World Series champs.
Miami Hurricane style. We ain't won jack, but look at our jewelry.
No, that game where they're getting blown out by Bama and it gets the turnover chain. I'm like, what are you doing? No. And then it gets overturned anyway. I was like, see, it's even worse.
South Carolina scored that touchdown. And I'm like, guys, it's 44-7. Maybe hold. Like, I'm all down for having fun. It's a game. Have fun. But, like, if you're getting roasted, dude.
And I love the excitement, but it's like, let's not fist pump when we're getting blown out here. Let's just be like, all right, good job. Let's go. Get off the field.
And it's not even about the L. Like, dude, you didn't find the end zone until they put in their backups. Like, maybe don't celebrate a TD against Texas A&M's second-team defense.
I feel like we might have been a third stringer by now, let's be honest.
I got to tell you, I had been putting off my first Gamecock game because I wanted to find, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to have my first game at Willie B, I wanted it to be for the right game, Diddy. I wanted it to be for the right game. And I had been saving up. I thought, okay, we didn't get to play it last year. Maybe Clemson at South Carolina, right? Because even if both teams are bad, that game's gonna the atmosphere is still gonna take the roof that doesn't exist off of Willie B.
Yeah, for sure.
I got to tell you, night game at home against Florida might be the one to go to because that Florida team that earlier in the year, you know, folks started to think Florida's back. Like, damn, all of a sudden they ain't so hot. No. I don't wonder if maybe South Carolina can't steal a dub away from Dan Mullen there as bad as they played against A&M. But A&M, you know, Corey said, not as good as Georgia, but still a good team. And he's right. I'm wondering if maybe the 7:30 kick against Florida will be in the one I break the old seal on.
Yeah, and then it's, you know, 2 weeks off to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
And Florida has to play Georgia in between. Mm-hmm. So maybe you get a team that's, you know, down on their luck, just not feeling themselves.
Yeah, Georgia's going to bang that team up a little bit.
Yeah, and then you can maybe sneak one. And then that Missouri win makes it 6, hopefully.
Right, Carolina fans, text me. if I get to pick one, South Carolina v. Florida, which is a question mark maybe win for South Carolina, or do I save it up for Clemson considering Clemson's come back to the pack? If I got to pick one of those two games, South Carolina fans, text me at 71307. Which one of those two games do I go to?
I think I got to vote Clemson still.
Clemson still?
The environment's just a different level.
I believe it.
It's amazing.
I believe it. All right, take a break. When we come back, we talk Braves baseball. Plus, would you have made the same decision as the fan who got Tom Brady's football? I would not have. I'll explain why next on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
That's where it was. That could have been bad.
Why do I still have my headset on?
I don't know.
Carolina with just 173 offensive yards in the loss. That, along with the 3 points, team lows since head coach Matt Rule took over last year. Game 1 of the World Series Tuesday night in Houston. The Braves start right-hander Charlie Moore, and the Astros start lefty Framber Valdez. ESPN Upstate is your home for Burns Rebels high school football play-by-play every Friday night at 7 o'clock.
I knew there was a set mode that I accidentally moved earlier. I couldn't figure out where it was. It was this one. So it was like, it was feeding right from Rob Brown open to out to commercials. Like, wait, what's this? What's happening? Like, oh, there it was. That's where it was. Ooh.
That UMC, the championship evening, really locked things up for him. He said, if we can get celebrities like Rob Brown to do things like that, then I'm in. Well, I mean,
Drop the C word on you there. Celebrities. I love that.
You'll then notice I went on a hot run of making sure that was well known as sarcastic.
Yes.
So I won the
I won the ring, the championship ring Saturday, and I won a cleats today. And one guy in the Triumph fan group was like, kind of feel like maybe he's throwing his celebrity around to win the contest. And I'm like, dude, if I threw my celebrity around, it might get me like 10% off at one bar. That would be the extent of my celebrity.
Yeah. Just hearing your name from random people is all I need. Like, I don't need free things. I'm not trying to
The extent
push
of
for
my
stuff.
celebrity is occasionally
I was still in Orlando just walking down Church Street and being like, Diddy. I'm like,
Yeah.
who? What?
Yeah.
Me? Oh, hey, hi.
somebody recognizes me, I still work under the assumption that they're confusing me for somebody
Yeah,
else.
like you're not talking to the right guy.
Let's get it. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show's on your record, on your radio. So I'm reading Braves tweets. I know I'm caught up in it. Which, you know what that means, Diddy? When I'm caught up in it, it just means that I'm setting myself up for the crushing disappointment that is Atlanta postseason sports.
Trust me, I understand you.
Yeah. Braves in the World Series, baby. I want to do this. I want to address some tweets that have come, or text and tweets. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air, and tweet us at The Rob Brown Show. At The Rob Brown Show. You can hit Diddy on the Twitter machine as well. Diddy is at Diddy33, DITTI 33 on the Twitter device. So hit Diddy up on Twitter as well. Let's grab him some more followers. I am at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. I know I'm very creative in the way that I handle my my life. So a couple of texts and tweets that have come in, and I want to address those. Regarding the Gamecocks, Diddy, Hurricane Jeff has texted into the show and says, the problem with the Missouri game upcoming is that they are looking at South Carolina and very much feel the same way in terms of that game being a winnable game. And that makes Mizzou a very dangerous game for South Carolina and for Shane Beamer's credibility. Oh, and the Canes finally won. Woohoo. Yeah, they did. Knocked off NC State. That's a good win, too. That's a good win for a team that beat Clemson. That's a big win. He's not wrong, though, right? Like, the most dangerous animal is the backed in the corner animal, right? And Mizzou's in the same spot because Missouri fans expected this year to kind of be a turning point year for that program, and it really has not been. The Mizzou Tigers have looked bad. I think last week Corey Diaz was on with us and said that he said, look, this team is really, really bad, Missouri, but they are still putting up a fight, right? This is a team that escaped Central Michigan. They lost to Kentucky. They did beat Southeast Missouri, so good win there, I guess. Boston College beat them. Tennessee blew the doors off Mizzou, 62-24. They escaped North Texas with a couple of late scores. Texas A&M beat them down. They've got Vandy this weekend, then Georgia. The good news, if there is any, is that they also play Georgia the week before they play South Carolina, as does Florida. Georgia's got Florida this week, and then South Carolina. And then South Carolina the week after. Mizzou's got Georgia, followed by that game against the Gamecocks. So it is on the road, though. It's in the other Columbia. So question mark game, but he's got a good point. This Mizzou team expected a turnaround. It has not happened, which means they're looking at South Carolina after this loss to A&M and going, we have to get that one.
We're almost a mirror image right now, except for that we were expected to be bad in South Carolina, and they were supposed to get better, and they're not. But yeah, you look at that game at this point in the season, you're looking for the games that are the potential wins. We do that. We've done that with the Panthers already. We did that with the Gamecocks, with the Tigers. That's what they're doing too. So they're going to be up for this game because on that schedule, this is the winnable one, especially coming up next. You know, like this is a game that they look at South Carolina and say, that team's not good. We need to step up and beat them, just like we're sitting here saying that team's not good. The Gamecocks have to show that they can play football against them. So, yeah, that's a very troublesome situation for the Gamecocks to go into.
Another texter says ESPN, Shane Beamer's body language is terrible on the sideline. I did see for the first time, like, real frustration. And I he should be frustrated. It's a frustrating performance out of South Carolina. But, you know, the thing is, and look, we saw a what appeared to be expletive-ridden demonstration out of Nick Saban with a delay of game penalty this past weekend against Tennessee as well. I mean, most coaches, even the great ones, Nick Saban, wear their emotion on their sleeve. But there is a difference between a rage-filled tirade because something went against your team versus that interception that was thrown on the sideline, the kind of bobbled pass that got taken away. Beamer just kind of drops the headset and puts his head down. When you, and I will agree with the texter on this, when you display that kind of body language, it is infectious, right? There is nothing that will impact the mentality of your team more than the coach looking like he has given up or is too frustrated to continue as well. If I may act as Shane Beamer's consigliere for just a minute, I would absolutely say, dude, not that your job is on the line, because I think you got at least one more season before it is, but if you act like that, your team will start reflecting that. And if your team starts reflecting that, it doesn't matter who you're playing. You're in trouble.
And it goes against the exact, thing that he brought to the table here. The joy, the enthusiasm, no matter how bad it gets, lift each other up.
People in his corner still.
Like lift them up, get on the side of your guys when you start just, flailing around and losing control of it. That is, a thing that doesn't look good. But let's not pretend that coaches don't do this all the time. Dabo throws fits on the sideline. I mean, the good coach that South Carolina had, the best one, threw his visor and his headset every single game. And he had moments just like Beamer had on Saturday night in those first couple seasons here, where he was just like, what can I do?
Yeah.
What do we do now?
The difference is he was
Steve Spurrier. Yeah,
right.
That is fair.
Let's see. Got a couple more texts. Simple fact, Rob, the simple fact is that South Carolina is getting worse every week. Shows Beamer is a bust. Like Rob said, it's okay for them to lose, but they show no progress. Not just no progress, but the opposite. End quote. Another texter says, is Lonzo out or did he get arrested for his conspiracy theories on the radio show? No, he's out on vacation. He is, as far as I know so far, not in jail. Texas says, for the Panthers, there's only one QB out there. So is it Deshaun or Colin Kaepernick? Texas says the Panthers will be a terrible team until they get rid of CMC. He is good, but you can't tie that much money up to a running back. You have to spend it on a left tackle. All right, we read that one earlier and reacted. It is correct. Rob, I love you, but can you please stop with the lady friend, girlfriend, or just friends? Hey, we are 36 years old. She is not a girl. She is a woman. Do you prefer woman friend? It's just weird.
That doesn't sound right. Yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue.
It's the lady friend, man.
Yeah.
It's the lady friend. Texter says, how much of the Panthers' woes are them running college schemes in the pros? I think there is some credibility to that. I think, look, Joe Brady's 32 years old. He's far from done in his coaching career. Okay, he's far from done. However, I do think he's got to get more. I think he's got to get more pro ready. I do think he showed up thinking, look how good LSU's offense was in 2019 with Joey B.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to work anywhere. This is the NFL.
Yeah.
The guys you're coaching against are far better at scheming. In college in 2019 at LSU, when you're playing Vanderbilt, that offense is going to work. When you're in the NFL, everybody on defense was an All-American. Yeah. They're all All-Americans over there, man. It's not that easy. I agree, which is why, as Diddy pointed out, Matt Rule got asked in his discussion today, are you changing play calling responsibilities? And his answer was, well, we're going to, I gathered the coaches, we're going to, he said everything, but no, I got to think Joe Brady, who was hailed as the offensive guru, the next Sean McVay when he got to the league, has not adapted well to the league, and you're seeing the results of that.
And another factor he was supposed to bring is developing quarterbacks. He created Joe Burrow. He wasn't good the year before, and then look what he did with Joe Brady. Well, then you see, is he going to do that with Sam Darnold? And he has deteriorated just as well as the rest of the team has over the last few weeks. So where are you at, Joe? Like, what's happening here? And you said it earlier. I mean, this was a no-question hire at LSU before this season at the Panthers. Until he started showing this offense falling apart with the Panthers, now maybe LSU's like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
I asked what game to go to. Should I go to Carolina hosting Florida or hosting Clemson? And the overwhelming response is save it up for Clemson, regardless of if it's better or not, save it up.
First one in 2 years, too, or 3 years. So
Texas says, am I wrong for thinking? So, and this is a result. We talked about this earlier in the show. The reports out of Charlotte right now, I think Shefty put this up earlier, too. Although, again, do we still trust Adam Schefter? Shefty put up earlier that the Carolina Panthers are considering or have already reopened lines of conversation with the Houston Texans to acquire Deshaun Watson to play quarterback there. Texas says, am I wrong for thinking
what good the Panthers, or excuse me, am I wrong for thinking what the Panthers would have to give up for Deshaun Watson would do more harm than the good Watson could do for them? Yes, Texter, you are exactly correct.
Yeah.
You are 100% correct.
Yep.
If there is, I think part of the reason that the Dolphins are considering making this move is because despite the fact that they know that they will have a lot of people of disparaging them for bringing Deshaun Watson in the midst of the accusations and the 22 lawsuits against him right now, is because they're going, yeah, but nobody else is in the trade talk, which means we're going to get him for 2 first-round picks ultimately, which is a great value if he's clean and if he comes out of this unscathed. And they may even be willing to gamble 2 first-round picks that Deshaun comes out of this able to still play and isn't suspended for X amount of days, months, weeks, years, games, whatever. If the Panthers do get back in this, and if any other teams get involved, which they might, right? Zach Wilson's out for 2 to 4 weeks for the Jets right now. Russell Wilson is out for the Seahawks for at least another 3 to 5 weeks. So rumor is that Cam worked out for the Seahawks. Haven't heard anything since then, but they're clearly in the market to bring in somebody to cover. Problem, Seattle's unlikely because they're not going to pay his contract and Russell Wilson's, and they're not going to cut Russ for Deshaun.
No way.
Point is, there might be some other teams that may decide that since there's other teams in, we won't look as bad. Let's go for it. The more teams get involved, remember the Texans were looking for like 5 first-round draft picks for Deshaun before.
Yeah.
If you get in and there are 2 or more teams involved in this, you're looking at 3 to 4 first-round draft picks coming off the table. And hey, there's going to be a left tackle in there somewhere that lets you move Moton back over to the right, lets you, fill in a guard gap here and there and have a star left tackle that you won't be able to get, down the line, right? Yeah, I absolutely think I would rather keep the draft picks. And on top of that, like I said, forget the football. We don't know if Deshaun ends. I mean, Deshaun loses 560. Scratch that. If any of these lawsuits end up heating up a criminal investigation and Deshaun ends up getting charged and convicted of sexual assault down the line, the NFL is getting to the point where I don't think they're going to be able to let guys skate like they did with Ray Lewis years ago, right? He goes down for a year or 2 suspension. Now what? Right? Now what?
And you're stuck with it.
Absolutely. So, no, I got to tell you, if I'm Carolina, Diddy, I'm not touching Deshaun with that. Before all the allegations, Deshaun was Christmas wish list, Santa, bring me a treat, kind of top of, bring the kid back to Carolina. I mean, imagine the fan swell there's going to be from Clemson fans jumping on board. When all this happened, it all went down, he went from the top of my wish list to the very top of my not with a 10-foot pole list.
Oh, absolutely. And you just can't take that risk right now. I don't understand how any of these teams are going to take that risk to give up future picks that could end up being franchise players in the future for a guy who you might not get to play this year, maybe not next year. You don't know what's going to happen once he gets traded. I feel like Goodell's going to come down, put him on that commissioner exempt list until they know what's going on with all the sexual assault scandals. So you got to wait that thing out. I don't see a point in going after a guy who might not be able to take the field for you. And you're going to throw away draft picks and then also pick up his salary just for him to go on the commissioner's list. And I think that's a gamble for everybody. And I really think only the owner of the Miami Dolphins would be dumb enough to do it, to be perfectly honest.
Texas says Carolina has already hamstrung their cap space with the CMC contract. Them mortgaging the future on a QB that may not play is an awful idea. Yeah,
Agreed.
Completely
100%.
agreed. Texas says, Rob, all the positivity and playing hard is gone. South Carolina quit Saturday night. I'm not saying let's fire Shane Beamer, but there are certainly red flags.
That's fair. Red flags is fair.
Red flags is very
But he's a bust after 8 games. Like, let's take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens going forward. You don't want to be what FSU is right now. So let's hope that he's not Willie Taggart, but we got to give him a chance to show it.
Yeah, I think it's, again, I think one thing that we have lost in sports, predominantly in politics, I think honestly, I think it might be the biggest problem in society is that we as a country have very little nuance when we have discussions, right?
Yeah.
It's either black or white, up or down, left or right, red
all
or blue.
nothing.
Right. It's there's no nuance to the conversation. And I think I think if you're a Gamecock fan, you have to approach this conversation about Shane Beamer with some nuance, right? Like on one hand,
Yeah, it looks bad. Absolutely looks like the team kind of let off the gas when they went down 35 or whatever it was against A&M, which of course they were. We also have to remember these are college kids who have probably, most of them have never been used to getting trounced like that. No. But on the flip side about Shane Beamer, you have to remember a handful of things. Number one, this was a gamble from the beginning. The guy's never been a head coach or an offensive coordinator. This was a gamble from the beginning. Number two, the dude has not had even a single off season. He came in late in the cycle and late in the cycle in a COVID year. He is not, the dude did not get a full COVID off season to put his team together, put his coaching staff together, put his guys in place, get players in place. He needs two recruiting cycles before I'm even ready to start worrying about it. But you are also a blind optimist if that is all you're banking on. Like, oh, he has an offseason, therefore, like that. Don't put him in Dabo's category yet. Don't put him in Nick Saban's category yet. The nuance to the conversation is there are a ton of red flags going up around the program. But also on the other side, this dude started 3 kilometers off the 5 kilometer pace. Yeah. After other coaches were already 3 kilometers up the course, right? I mean, this is not... The nuance here is that both sides have a valid point, and we've got to figure out where it sits in the middle. Shane Beamer is a young guy, an excitable guy. Even in his press conference after losses, he still has just that energy of like, okay, but we're still fine. On the flip side, it's easy to look at that A&M game and go, bro, I'm looking for silver linings and I'm not seeing them. Yeah. The truth is somewhere in the middle, Diddy, and the unfortunate part is because you have made the bed the way you've made it, you are along for the ride for 2 years. Good, better. And it may not work, but it also might. Either way, you're on the roller coaster, bro. And you're at the top of the very first hill. There is no stop, I want to get off. You just hope it stays on the tracks.
Yeah, there's really nothing you can do at this point. We have to ride it out. You got to see what he can get in. And again, like you were just saying, give him a chance of a full cycle. Give him a chance of getting some players that he wants to fit his system and whatever he's trying to implement. Because right now he's playing with what we would call the leftovers. You know, he's the guys who were already there that the last guy brought in. A lot of them are supposed to be far better than they're playing. They're supposed to be far better than they played for Muschamp too. So the development kind of started last year. It's continuing now. You would have hoped they would have gotten better under a new regime that maybe could have developed them better, but they haven't. So yes, this texter, spot on. Red flags, all day red flags. But bust is a word that we need to put aside at least until mid-next year. And if mid-next year you get blown out and look like that, like you did on Saturday in College Station again, then yeah, let's start talking about how this isn't working.
All right, 1 or 2 more before we take a break. Texter says Carolina needs a quarterback that Beamer recruits to play under Beamer's coordinators with a couple recruiting classes before he gets trashed for losing to a top 15 SEC team on the road with a grad assistant at quarterback. Chill out, fans.
Yes.
Both of those two texts, spot on. Yeah. Both of them back to back, spot on text.
And that's the thing. We started the season with a grad assistant. The kid was a coach until everybody got hurt. And they're like, oh, well, I guess you're playing, bud.
Zeb Nolan didn't have Zeb Nolan didn't have an offseason either. Right? Zeb Nolan didn't have a preseason. He popped into gear in week 2, week 1? You threw a grad assistant who played at the FCS level under center in a team he never played for before, for a coach that never coached, without a recruiting cycle. I mean, again, the launch pad for the South Carolina Gamecocks was covered with rubble and debris. You got to clean the launch pad off before you can take off. That's where it's at. And last one before we take a break, Carolina needs a quarterback. No, sorry, that's the last one. Mark this down. If Deshaun Watson isn't in Carolina this year, Russell Wilson will be next year. The connections are there.
Don't hate it. But you don't want to pay a lot for him.
I was gonna say, it's a money thing, right? Because you got Darnold for another year under contract, so you'd have to offload that contract and the dead money that comes with that trade. Russell is, even if there are connections, he's still going to want to get paid like a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. And on top of that, the question you have to answer before you can ask that one is, have the wheels come off so much in Seattle that Russ wants out, right? Because Pete Carroll has already said, in fact, he said either last night or today that it's time to rebuild the culture in Seattle. because it's not the same mentality that was 3-4 years ago when they seemed like they were an every year NFC competitor.
Yeah.
Does Russ go, I'm too old to be in a rebuilding zone, send me some. But even if he does, I'm sorry to say, Panthers fans, Russ showing up doesn't make you a Super Bowl team.
No.
Russ is going to have as many problems in Carolina as he does in Seattle. So if he says, I want to go to a contender, I love y'all, but y'all ain't it. Y'all ain't it yet.
Quarterback's one piece of what you need to fix.
Yeah.
One
it's
piece.
a big piece.
It's a big one, but not everything.
It's a big old piece in the center of the jigsaw puzzle, but y'all got about 9 more around it that got to get fixed first. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Continue on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
When you don't do this daily, start running out of vocal power into this third hour, man. I'm like, oh, I sound scratchy now.
The question I get asked the majority of the time when I talk to people about this job is, how do you yell for 3 hours and not lose your voice? I was like, I've been doing it 15 years.
You get used to it when you're doing it every day. Then, I'm here. I do the weekend voice tracking, and then I do the show with you on Sundays. Not every Sunday, So it's like I don't get that continuity of keeping my voice strong.
That's it. I tell her it's like any other muscle, man. The more you work it out.
Yep.
We got about 3 minutes.
Probably a little longer.
Mad World in South Carolina. Experience the biggest and scariest haunted attraction, full of dark woods, incredible set designs, special effects, and top-notch actors. Grab your friends and get ready to scream. Mad World is more than just a haunted house. There are escape rooms, scary carnival games, concessions, bonfire, amazing photo opportunities, a gift shop, and our brand new 18-hole Ghost Town mini golf. Mad World has scary entertainment for all ages, including families, adults, teenagers, and the adrenaline junkies at heart. Located in Piedmont off I-85, exit 35, Mad World Haunted Attraction is the place to be this Halloween season. Don't miss it. Buy your tickets now at attractions.com.
Wow.
Southeast manufacturing event. Whether your business is looking to get hands-on demonstrations, reduce costs, identify new markets, or maintain manufacturing competitiveness, SouthTech has the technologies, experts, and industry leaders you rely on to make critical connections. SouthTech features exhibits from more than 230 companies, daily keynotes, a digital transformation panel, and much more. You'll gain valuable insights you can put to work right away. Attend SouthTech in person.
Yeah, there's still 3 minutes left. This was a long one.
Yeah.
And I added 30 to it to move that game promo down so that we had at least the minute and a half on the end of that last hour. I'm guessing Diesel sets up the top of his hour before he comes in? Or do I need to set up the top of Diesel's hour?
I do not know.
Ooh.
I think he's here, though. So next break, we'll go find him and ask.
Yeah.
Josh, listen, I am as humble as I am good looking, okay? Which is very. So
Joel Davis scares me over my shoulder here.
What's that?
TD scares me over here. I guess it's better than Mark being in my back. Oh, McGuire.
All season, you can follow your favorite team no matter where you are on Odyssey, your audio home for football. Odyssey brings you local sports talk across the NFL's biggest markets, with Monday morning reactions and exclusive interviews with football pros like Patrick Mahomes, Matt Jones, and more. Even check out what your rivals are up to with local coverage. And
So I do the Twitter thing. Is it just the main trending, or should I go to the sports trending?
No, just whatever's trending. It's literally whatever. The only thing I stay away from is anything that is overly political.
Yeah. I was planning on doing that.
Yeah, correct.
I don't want to play.
Now, if there's something that like jumps out at you specifically, like
there's a sports one that does.
Yeah, if there is a sports one, you can absolutely move that to the top. Let's take a look at what's trending right now. Trending. So like
Kyle Orton is trending.
Yep, that's a good one.
There's a Ken Griffey Jr.
The GOAT is trending, and you like that one. You can leave open ended. You know, like the GOAT.
Yeah.
Okay, about what? Like we can just make something up. Chowder is trending.
Yeah, I saw that too.
You know, we can have fun with that. Rolling Stone is trending. Brooklyn Bridge is trending.
Ooh, did you see why Rolling Stone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy. Chomsky. Gnome?
iOS is trending. Johnny Bravo, Zuckerberg, FaZe, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's whatever you're in the mood for. So I don't look at Twitter while we're doing that. So it's just open it. Texas says, Rob, I didn't want Shane Beamer. I thought there were 5 better options, but you got to give him his time. What irritates me is the Beamer people are blaming coordinators. That's from Billy. Billy, appreciate the text.
What 5 options?
Yeah, I would start with that.
That like were legitimate chances.
For the record, I wasn't high on the Beamer hire either, right? For the record, I wasn't high on the Beamer hire either. I thought that Beamer probably needed to go cut his teeth elsewhere. But can you guarantee me that Jamie Chadwell would have been a better coach, right?
I don't know.
You guarantee me that? Can you guarantee me that Billy Napier would have been a better coach, right? Can you guarantee me? I don't think he can. I think it was look, at the end of the day, every job in football everywhere is a gamble. And there you can hedge bets a little bit by getting into, aspects of the coach's life that Diddy and I don't have access to. I mean, if you're looking to hire a head coach, you can absolutely tell me about your family life. Tell me about your finances. I mean, you can get, all right, is this guy super detail oriented when it comes to his own life? Because if he is, probably will be as a coach. Is this guy is there a ton of drama that's followed around in his life? Because if there is, probably going to follow him around as a head coach.
Yep.
But when it comes down to it, I don't know that there were any guys that would have looked at this job. Because I think one thing we also do as college football fans, Diddy, is we just kind of work. I'm having this same conversation. I had the same conversations last week with Clemson fans, is that we just view our job as like one of the best jobs in the country.
Yeah,
and, for a guy like Beamer, South Carolina is a dream job. He cut his teeth with Steve Spurrier there. But for most coaches, a job's a job. Yeah. Like a job's a job. I got into it with Clemson fans last week, Diddy, because I told them LSU's a better job than Clemson. All right. And outside of this market, 95% of the rest of the country would agree with me that LSU is a better job, even with the stiffer competition.
Yeah.
It is a better job than Clemson is. Because we talked about when LSU fired Ed O, who are the candidates, and I said, Look, I'm not saying he's going to take the job, but Scott Woodward, the AD at LSU, is absolutely going to call Dabo about it. He's absolutely going to call it.
Yeah.
If nothing else, to hype up the interest. Not that they need help of it, but hey, if Dabo's talking about the job, then anybody should be, and to open that door. And then I said, and at the end of the day, you don't have to like it, but LSU's a better job than Clemson. Not by what it was 15 years ago, but it is a better job, especially with LSU being in the SEC and the extra money versus what's happening at Clemson right now. You did not have the door open to just go hire the cream of the crop coaches, South Carolina. You're not there right now. So this was it's a risky, it's a crapshoot, it's a gamble of a pick. And the thing about gambling is you're going to lose more than you win. Trust me, I'm a gambler. All right. You're going to lose more than you win. The key is when you win to win big.
Yeah.
And we just don't know yet. In a very crappy put together metaphor, Diddy, the ball's still circling the roulette board, man. We don't know where it's going to land yet. Now, you can kind of start to get a guess because it slows down after a while, and you can kind of start to see, all right, what's going to bounce in this region. So we got these options, but you don't know where it's going to end. And I think it's too early to start claiming that the bet's an L.
Way too early.
But I will agree with Billy on this. You cannot try to excuse what's happening, the red flags going up right now. You can't try to say Shane Beamer has no fault in this. All right. Yeah. For instance, I look over at what's happening with Clemson, and I've said that I like the guy. I've met him twice. Tony Elliott's a good dude. I've met him twice, and I've enjoyed the hell out of our conversations off the air the 2 times I've met him, as well as the couple of times I've gotten to interview him. I like the guy. He's good. A hell of a story too, man. Hell of a story for Tony Elliott, but he's not doing a good job at Clemson right now. All right. Those are 2 separate things, the professional and the personal. He's not doing a good job at Clemson right now. The play calling is not creative. It's bland. It's vanilla. It's predictable. And while we can all go, Tony Elliott's offense has fallen apart, and it has. Guys, at the end of the day, who's the guy that put him in that position? Who's the guy that put him in that job? Who makes the ultimate call about who's calling the plays? It's Dabo Swinney. So it's the same thing with the Clemson fans that are excusing Dabo. They got all the issues in the world. The one thing I never hear Clemson fans say is, I'm questioning Dabo right now. And you better be, because he's the guy that sets all of this up to go.
Yeah, he's the hirer. He's the guy who brought in these coaches. He did it. And that's definitely something that needs to be on Beamer. He chose these guys. He chose these coordinators. It doesn't mean we can't say that this coordinator needs to go. They need to find somebody better. But that also goes on Beamer's record as you hired the wrong guy up front. And that's what started with Muschamp when he was here. You brought Roper in after failing with Roper in Florida and then failed again here with Roper. So, it does fall on the coordinator not getting the job done, but when the coordinator's not getting the job done, it always falls on the head coach.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Let's do this. Let's run to our half-hour break here. Let's see. Texture says, Rob, at least the 2 you named have head coaching experience. The Beamer people think he should be given 5 or 6 years unconditionally. I think 3 at best. I'm a 3 guy, right? 3
it's not getting better. Yeah.
3 lets you get in 2 recruiting cycles of your own guys. Let you get some juniors on the field. 3 is where I draw the line. And I'll go more than 3 if you're not quite conference ready, but there's improvement. And I guess that's the frustrating part is I'm not seeing the team getting better week to week, but you're still in that zone. To me, you're still in that zone of right, but he's trying to put Muschamp's dudes into Beamer's system, and it takes time. He's not off, but the cushion is deflating. I'll just say that.
Very much so.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk Carolina to Deshaun Watson. We got Braves baseball to get into and Twitter trending topics to wrap it up on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate, y'all.
Which ones I've played? I don't think I've played that. Ooh. Vacation. Texas Tech fires Matt Wells.
Saw that.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages. Tell me more. Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers. 92%? Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients.
The best man asking me what we're doing for a suit for the wedding. And I'm like, undecided.
It's literally your job, Chief.
Undecided. And he's like, well, Hope wants to buy me this fitted suit. I was like, dude, it's not going to be a full suit. We're going to be on the beach in Jamaica. Like, I'm not going to try to kill you guys. And hey, I'm the fat guy. So like, I'm not wearing a full suit in the sun in Jamaica in May. Like, it's going to be casual as hell. Like, what are you doing? So you could buy a suit if you want, but that's not what we're wearing. Like a button down and some khakis, like rolled up because it's hot. A minute 15 left. Oh, we got a call. ESPN Upstate. All righty, I'll get you on hold, Jay. I didn't open that.
The tenacious throwdowns. Ladies and gentlemen, basketball is back. DraftKings,
What the heck is others? No, that's.
return to the hardwood by giving new customers a free shot at
Oh, yeah,
millions
there it
of
is.
dollars in total prizes. Playing daily fantasy hoops is easy. Just pick your lineup of pro basketball ballers, stay under the salary cap, and rack up points for three-pointers,
If I could type.
rebounds, assists, and more. Score big, and you can score big cash. And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, it's the perfect time to show off your basketball IQ. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your
Oh, that's pretty crazy. Dusty Baker made his major league debut with the Braves September 7th, 1968.
1968.
In a game against the Houston Astros.
Astros?
Now he's managing the Astros in the World Series against the Braves. That's awesome.
Ready?
Yes. Yeah. I think he's going to have a big series.
Who's in for Jason?
All right, let's talk some Braves baseball. Headed to the World Series, baby.
Knock off the LA Dodgers in 6 games in the National League Championship Series. What a dub for the boys. Underdogs
Huge.
in Vegas. Came through in the clutch. Gotta love that. Alex Anthopoulos put together a masterful collection of moves at the trade deadline for a team that was bouncing up, down, and all around the 500 mark going to the All-Star break. The Braves end up with 88 wins and get in. They end up in the divisional series as an underdog. They go get the dub. They end up in the championship series as an underdog. They go get the dub, and they are now 4 wins away from claiming their second World Series trophy. It's the first time they've been in the Fall Classic since 1999. Diddy, your boy was a freshman in high school the last time the Bravos played for a World Series championship.
And it wasn't pretty.
No, it did not go well.
It went real bad, real fast.
Did not go well.
That was also the only other time I had the chance of possibly seeing that Red Sox Braves World Series. And both times the Red Sox fell very short.
It very much did not go well.
Braves got it done.
Yeah.
Way to be.
Yeah, they did get it. They got it done. Very excited to see them move on. Jason has called in to talk Little Braves football, Little Braves baseball. Excuse me. Ask and you shall receive. Our unofficial, official Braves correspondent, Jason, checking in. Welcome back, big dog. Good to have you.
Thanks for taking my call, baby. Hey, what a moment. What a moment. Been a long time in the making. And I just imagine this, the 12th best record in the league. And, all those years in the 90s or early part of the 2000s, whatever, all those 100-win teams that didn't even make the World Series and didn't win the World Series. Just how crazy ironic would it be if this team won the World Series? Definitely not one of their best teams they ever had, you know, when you compare it to those teams in the past. But, man, they're here, and fans are hungry. It's not like it was in the 90s where you have the, you know, 3/4 filled stadium during the playoffs. Fans have been waiting for this, and I'm fired up. It's you know, Houston's going to be a tough out, but you know they've beat two good teams already, and it's, you know, what's great about postseason baseball. Just put together a couple guys get hot, and you know, I like her pitching, so you know that's. I'm confident. I'm going to pick the Braves in 6.
Braves
in 6. Yes, sir.
All right,
yes,
Jason. I got you written down, big dog. We will talk to you Wednesday after game number 1, see how we feel. That's Jason. He calls in to talk Braves baseball after every game. It says Braves in 6. And Diddy, I'll tell you, man, like, it's interesting because coming into this thing, it was expected that the Braves front half of the rotation would have to go deep into games because a lot of people didn't trust the bullpen. But Will Smith has been lights out in the closer role. Tyler Matzek, talking about a comeback story. Tyler Matzek at one point got sent home from minor league ball because he was just atrocious, came to the league, had a slow start. Matzek was aces against the Dodgers in the clutchest of clutch moments in game 6. It has been the bullpen that has been carrying Atlanta alongside some relatively hot bats. Eddie Rosario has been good. You know, in fact, it's almost been interesting because you would have thought without Ronnie Acuna, Freddie Freeman was going to have to hold down the fort. Freddie in the NLCS was almost all but disappeared for the most part, with a couple of exceptions. You know, if the world's perfect for Atlanta, Freeman comes back and Anderson, who had not a great showing in game 5, finds it again, he'll probably take to the hill line, I would think. So they're going to go with Charlie Morton in game number 1, which makes me think you're going to go Anderson in game 2, Fried in game 3 back in Houston. Remember, the World Series is 2-2-1-1-1. As opposed to the 2-3-2 format that the divisional series is, or the championship series is. So Fried probably gets the first away start. I don't know, man. Like I get why the Braves are an underdog. I don't think Vegas is wrong for marking that down. It's just gonna be, Diddy, is a Sunday, Monday break enough to cool off the momentum for the Braves. This is a team that is winning on emotion right now. And that's hard to do in baseball.
That's something we see when we see it in baseball, though. Sometimes we've seen so many of these wild card teams come through, you know, like the 2004 Red Sox was a wild card team that, you know, stumbled down the stretch and ended up getting it done in the playoffs, pulling that miracle against the Yankees and all that. We've seen these teams do this. The Cardinals have done it where they came in last second and then got on that hot streak. You get hot and stay hot, you're unbeatable in this sport. That's the best thing about this sport, because it is one of those things of streaks, and I love seeing it. And this team, as much as we started all talking about the Red Sox at one point when they went up 2-1 on the Astros, had the grand slams, Fenway was rocking. Is this the Cinderella? Well, no, it's been the Braves the whole time. The Braves have been the Cinderella team because they were literally the lowest record getting into the postseason. They had to go right up against some big dogs and get it done with Milwaukee, and then play the 106-win LA Dodgers, who have knocked them out the last couple of years, and got it done again. This is that kind of Cinderella team, that team of destiny that just continues to get it done. And when Rosario, a late season pickup that, you know, you hoped was going to fill a little bit of a void because you had a big void when you lost Ronald Acuna Jr., he's the MVP of the NLCS. That just means everything's going the right way for you. It's all clicking, and it's hard to believe they're not going to keep clicking. But the thing is, the Red Sox did a really good job of waking up the Astros, and their bats were alive down the stretch of that ALCS. So it's going to be a really interesting series to see how this Braves pitching staff can step up, and if they can continue to pitch the way they're pitching against Correa, against Altuve, against Bregman, and all the rest, and Yuri Gurriel, who's the American League batting champion this year. So this is a very task for the Atlanta Braves. It'd be really fun. I hope Jason's right. I really do.
Yeah, it sets up to be a fun series, right? The strengths that the Braves have had in the divisional and the championship series, the strengths that the Braves have had in those two series match up with the Houston Astros. Yep. The problem is that I think the Braves are the problem, if it becomes one, I should say, is that the Braves are they are without a doubt the most the team with the best chemistry in the postseason.
Oh, yeah.
All right, this team is just they have a ball together.
Yeah,
and that can lift you, right? Because when things get tough, to know that your boys are still there, it can elevate you past a tough moment in a way that teams without that chemistry might start to fall apart as individuals. The problem is the Houston Astros might be the most consistently talented baseball team. And there's very few spots where the Astros fall off. You have got to go out and beat the Astros 4 out of 7 because they're not going to give away any. This is a really interesting series. This is a really interesting series to take a look at. I am intrigued by it because, again, if the Braves take the momentum they built in the NLCS into the World Series, they can win it. Okay, they can win it. But the Braves are going to have to do something special while the Astros just need to be the Astros.
Yeah.
It comes down to that as far as I'm concerned.
But it's still, there's the big question marks. I mean, their 2 best pitching performances in the entire postseason so far were those last 2 games against the Red Sox, and they were rookie pitchers who are not experienced in this, just like the rest of the team is experienced. They are not experienced. And the first time out against the Red Sox, they both got lit up. So it'll be very interesting to see how they come out. If they can pitch the way they pitched the last 2 games, the Braves are in trouble. But if they come out the way it was early in that Red Sox series, this Braves lineup is better than the Red Sox lineup and at least more complete right now. You don't have a Hunter Renfroe who can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. You have no other option to put out there. You had to play him. So the Braves are much better set up for this than the Red Sox were against the Houston Astros.
And they've got a couple of extra guys on the bench that if somebody goes stone cold, they can make a move. A couple of texts that have come in on the Ingles Market text line 781-307. Texter writes in and said, Rob, you should have stuck with your gut last week. You said if Atlanta takes a game in LA, you felt that they would win one of the last 2 back at home. And that's exactly what happened. They won the first one back at home. Dude, I also shock myself with being right sometimes.
Yeah, same.
Another texter says, Diddy, I have a big issue with the path that the Braves got with the worst record in the playoffs. The Braves should not have had home field nor the easiest path to the World Series.
It's fair. You got to win your division.
Hey, man.
It's got to win your division. Sometimes it's just an unlucky draw. Look at the AL East.
For the Dodgers that they went with the Giants, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and it sucks for the Blue Jays that they won 91 games and are sitting at home watching the playoffs. Yeah. Same thing with the Mariners. So, sometimes you win a lot more games and don't get in, and sometimes you're in that division that's just not good. And you sneak in.
Texter says, remember the Astros will know the entire book on Charlie Morton since he played there for 3 seasons. That worries me. That's fair.
That is fair.
That's fair. They know the guy better than anybody else.
It's not like he was throwing him batting practice, though.
Yeah, but also he had the stint in Tampa. So it's also, I mean, it's a bit removed. I mean, there's been a lot of pieces moved, including the manager. A lot of pieces have moved since Charlie Big Game F and Morton was with the Stros. He had that, what did he do, a year and some change down in Tampa before he got to Atlanta. So, it's a bit removed, but it's still a valid point. Still a very valid point. Let's take a break. We'll wrap it up with Twitter trending topics when we come back on the Rob Brown Show right here on ESPN Upstate.
Good for you. I wouldn't hate if they reseeded after the wild card game, though. I'm not against that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it sucked to have the Giants and Dodgers play right away.
Yeah, because you have what? You had the Dodgers with 106.
They're 106 and the Giants were 109 or 107. I mean, yeah, one game different.
Yeah.
It's like, again, though, win your division.
Yeah,
that's just the game. I mean,
beat them 2 more times, and
that or we go to the NBA format and just have the top 8 teams. I mean, that sucks because then it takes away all the division stuff, the rivalry game. I don't hate playing.
My thing is either don't go down the middle. I don't even like reseeding the playoffs because then if you're doing reseeding the playoffs, you might as well just make it the top 8 teams in the NL, top 8 teams in the AL. Let's see what happens.
Like that doesn't solve the issue of if you are a traditionalist, and a lot of people don't care about like playoff rivalries. Like, all right, well, whatever. And so do you leave the divisions intact, but then don't have division champions, or do have division champions, but only the top 8 teams still go so that you can still have divisional champs? But I don't know, man.
Oh, I smell coffee, which means I got to go ask Diesel this.
I respect that more than I can tell you.
ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of pay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack. See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get it. Within the first day, ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
I thought that would be the smarter way to do it, but.
ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
All right.
Prescription products require online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED is common. About 40% of men experience ED by age 40. But the solution is simple. Find it at 4hims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor in person. There was no copay, and the medication was shipped right to my door in discreet packaging.
Hims took care of it. Fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever.
Get access to doctors online who can prescribe you FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands. Get 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion for your money back. Go to 4hims.com/joy to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to 4hims.com.
Does this have a music bed on it, the Twitter thing?
No, the intro. Yeah. There's a Twitter trending topics bed, so you'll roll that instead of intro music.
Ooh. I don't see a bed. I just have the intro.
That's it. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. And that's what I meant.
So no music under it.
No. So just roll that. You can let it roll because I think it's only like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So roll that as the intro music, and you will introduce this.
Okay.
Twitter trending topics. Here's what's trending on Twitter. Blah blah. Whatever you want to say about it, I don't care.
30 seconds. Man, I'm excited about this one. Lead us. This is great.
Oh, you can have more.
I get to be a part of this.
It's all you, buddy.
I'm excited. It is time for Yes. The first one I'm going to start with is I think it's a big one because I'm such a baseball guy, and this is my favorite player probably of all time.
Ken Griffey Jr.
The kid is trending right now.
Baby.
Why?
That's the thing. I didn't even know he was. I mean, I know why he's trending because I saw it earlier in the day.
Okay.
I just knew as soon as you said my favorite player because you're my age, and if you're my age, Ken Griffey Jr. is your favorite player.
It's Griffey.
Griffey is now a member of the ownership of the Seattle Mariners, and dude has always had a passion for them and the Reds both, obviously. But him being a part of it,
considering Seattle looked like they were getting close this year.
They
looked like they were getting close this year. When Ichiro left, they fell off a little bit, but they seem to have put it together. And now that they've got that dude involved, I don't think he's going to be involved to the level of, he's a associate general manager, but I think he's got the drive. If nothing else, he's going to reinvigorate interest in that ball club. So,
oh, absolutely. Just having the kid there all the time. I mean, it's the house he built.
The sweetest swing in baseball history.
The greatest.
I don't care what you say.
The
He is
absolute greatest. Who's not the greatest at the sport he played is also trending. And it's a man named Kyle Orton.
Kyle freaking
Yes.
Orton.
No, we're not talking
trending.
about Randy. This isn't a wrestling segment. Kyle Orton, the
could be.
quarterback,
It could be.
is
If
trending.
we try hard enough. I saw that earlier, but I actually forgot to I didn't get a chance to look it up. Why is he trending?
So, as we all know, Tom Brady, the GOAT, made more history. 600 plus touchdowns thrown as of yesterday, 602 now. So NFL and CBS tweeted to put Tom Brady's 602 passing touchdowns in perspective. It's more than double of these legends' careers. John Elway had 300. Montana, 273. Steve Young, 232. Terry Bradshaw, 212. Kurt Warner, 208. Troy Aikman, 165. And Kyle Orton, 101. Why?
Kyle the Legend Killer Orton isn't a legend?
I think Jake the Snake Plumber deserved to be on that list.
Speaking of, and we're going to talk about this in more detail tomorrow, but I'm going to go ahead and say that dude who gave Brady's ball back, he gave it back for another game ball and a $1,000 gift card to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team store. Terrible decision, bro. Terrible decision to give that ball back.
That's a little rough.
I'd have put that under my jersey and run like I was a Buccaneer.
Like, I definitely would have wanted to work out something to be able to meet Tom Brady and give him the ball myself, but only. And at first I was like, well, that's not that bad, but it's only to the Tampa Bay Pro Shop.
I am a Tom Brady stan. I've always loved Tom Brady. All right. I will admit that publicly. Meeting Tom Brady and having him cook me dinner ain't enough, because that ball's worth $500,000.
That is true.
$500,000. $500,000 I could do some damage with. All right. That's all I'm saying. We got one more.
Last thing, chowder.
Chowder!
That's
There's a lady on Twitter who apparently broke up with her boyfriend because he said he eats chowder during the summer months, with, I guess, is like a major sin in New England. Yeah, the audacity.
I'm fine with it.
The audacity.
I'll chowder year round.
And now people are just ripping chowder. It's basically New England versus the world now.
Yes. Is it the white
About
one or the
chowder.
red? I always get this wrong.
White one.
No, I know.
Clam
It's
chowder.
Ace Ventura.
Ah, good call. You blew it. You got a movie quote by me. That's talented. That's it. Mark Ryan and Diesel are up next for Offside. Stick around. We'll be back tomorrow. Did he go sit in one more time on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate? Later, brother.